slave, yeah. I mean, that person, listen, he promised to house the whole nation of Libya before he houses his own family. Do you know his own family lived in the deserts in tents? Yeah. And he promised.
So Ezra, are you anti-establishment then?
No, but he was for the Shiva.
I was just asking Ezra, is he anti-establishment as well?
The people, why did they such an unjustified way? Why
Ezra, I can't hear you because there's a pagan talking over you. Are you anti-establishment, Ezra?
You're a pagan.
My thing's born Babylon, so you know my thing already.
Jump upon Babylon.
Yo, you know, man, already. Man's against all government and world structures. At the same time, there's certain governments that have been productive. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain leaders that have tried to fight for the people, Shiva, and they're the ones that get taken out and killed. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're in the government, whether they're revolutionary on the ground, there's certain man that actually.
Can I say one thing, Ras? Ras, can I say one thing? Yeah, like I said on there yesterday. Yeah, if the government wanted to launch a nuclear bomb at me, it's gonna miss. Do you know why? Because I'm protected by the Most High, and His power is absolute.
No weapon
so if there's something supposed to happen.
How's it going, everyone?
I believe in what
hey, my man. Yeah, I wanna ask. Look, can I say something here?
I believe that the bomb, if it's the Most High's will, it might even hit me, because I believe that, you know, for you to live a righteous life, death is just you returning back to the Most High. You're gonna have to answer for everything you've done, innit? That's what.
Trust me. That's true too. That's true too. But at this point in time, if the Most High wants you to be alive, if He decides you will not die today, you're not dying. His power is absolute.
Big up to the theists. I'm with you on this, but I will say that respect. You have suffered a lot of losses in the last couple of weeks, so I will be gentle. But I want to ask you a question. Yeah, do you believe that if the transatlantic slave trade they used the Islamic version of slavery, would you still agree with them enslaving your people? So if they said they could free them, that they could clothe them, and they would have a different. So are you saying that? Are you saying that if your people were enslaved by the Islamic version of slavery, would you have been okay with that?
So if my people attacked Europe and got captured and went to do the indentured servitude that the Irish done, 100%.
Did Bilal attack anyone?
Hold on, 1 minute. Let me run with this. Okay, so you're saying that if the Europeans come into your land and you let me ask. All right, so let me just first of all, let me just
go to prison and put them in the prison.
Can you not stop talking for me? So are you saying that if your people attacked the British and then they captured them, including women and children, and then sent them over to Jamaica and Americas because they attacked them, but they had the premise of maybe being freed, you're okay with that for your people?
You have to be freed. It's not a choice.
No, it's not. You have to be free. They can free you if they want.
The commandment is to free you.
All right. So let me ask you a separate question. Say if your family, say if you was killed in war, and then what happened?
Raj, now the questions. You've already lost. You've already lost.
1 minute.
You've already lost, Raj. You've already lost. Submit, Raj. Raj, submit.
Let me finish it. So if you went to war, with Britain, and they used the Islamic concept of slavery, and then what happened is that you lost, and then you was killed, but your family was still alive, like your mum, your daughters and sisters and stuff. Would you be okay with them to be captured, and they just might be what you call a concubine under the rulership of the British using the Islamic version of slavery?
Concubines were not allowed in Islam.
No, stop. No. Well, so what your right hand possesses is basically you can have sex with your slaves. Are you okay with that? Yes or no?
Raj, you're finished. You're making a false argument.
I'm not using a false argument. Let me finish.
You're not saying you can marry the women. You're saying you can have sex with your slaves. Two different things. Getting married to a woman and having sex with a slave is two different things. But you like to put you Jupiter, Reggie, you lot are obviously the same team. You lot like to put it in your disastrous way. This is what I believe.
I'm one of the few people.
Let him finish. Hold on, Jupiter. Let him finish. Let him dig his own hole. Let him finish.
All right. So, no, you're going to be disappointed, Raj, because what I believe about slavery Islamically is the same thing that the people that abolish slavery using the Quran believe. I believe if I was a leader under Quran 2177, there's an order. The only way you can be righteous is to free the slaves. So I would believe in freeing all of them and abolishing.
Right, so let me ask you this question, because in the Quran there is one verse.
The only time when it will be applicable is in war. That's the only.
One minute. So there's one verse in the Quran that I have a big problem with because it's used against my people as well. And so there's a verse that you can have sex with your 4 wives and what your right hand possesses. So are you saying how can you have sex with your right hand possesses and marry them at the same time?
Whoever among you cannot find the means to marry free believing women. So if you can't find any Muslim women that are already...
I didn't ask you that. So if you had 4 wives...
I'm reading the verse.
Hold on. No. Answer the question. You had 4 wives, and then you have a slave girl that you can also have sex with. That means you can have sex with your slaves.
Are you listening? This is the verse. And whoever can't find the means to marry a free believing woman. So if you can't get a woman that's a believer, then whom your right hand possesses. So these are people that have been.
What verse is that? Respect.
Verse 425. Of whom the right hand possesses of the believing servant girls, the ones who have been captured. And Allah is most knowing about your faith. You believers are one of another. So marry them with the permission of their people. Marry them with the permission of their people.
Let me read
the verse then, because someone's putting it up here. Let me read the verse to you. Hold on. So this is talking about sexual partners, and it's Quran 2356. It says, those who strain their carnal desires except with their wives and slave girls or right hand possesses, for these are lawful to them. Quran 2356. So are you saying to me, do you believe? Let me ask you this question.
Let me explain that. Who's the slaves girl? Who are they?
All right. So Quran 2356 says, "It is hasten for them good things, rather they do not perceive." And I can share my screen right now.
The verse that he said there, that verse where it says you can have sex with your slave girls or your wife. Like, you were the slave girls.
2356. I just read it out. It says, "Is we hasten for them good things." Let me share my screen just to show how people tell lies and give wrong verses. He said 2356. I've got it on the screen. It doesn't even say that.
It says what you're right. But all right, so let me ask you this question then. Do you believe a slave lady whose family's been killed in war can be a consensual partner with her captor?
Yo, Belly, share my screen.
No. Answer this question. Can a lady or a female whose family's been killed, and then the captors have captured her and they want to marry or have a sexual relationship, can they be a consensual partner?
This ain't right after the war, because it has to be a time when you haven't been able to find believing women that you can get a believing woman that you can get married to.
So how long can someone be in trauma for there? Or listen, how long do you think? Hold on. How long do you think a female is going to mourn the death of her people? How long?
Listen. It says, and whoever cannot find the means to marry a free believing woman. So this is when man can't find a woman that's already on whatever man's on.
No. Answer the question. Can a female be a consensual partner? Hold on. Can a female be a consensual partner if her people were killed, including her husband, her father, her whatever, all their men? Can she be a consensual partner, sexual partner? Yes or no?
It says you have to get permission to.
No. I'm asking you.
If you just killed them.
Hold on. I'm asking just a yes or no question. I will say no. So can you be a consensual partner if your people have been killed, all your menfolk, and you're captured? Can you be a consensual partner in those circumstances under duress? Yes or no?
Who says she's under duress?
So let me ask you this then.
1 minute, Raj, because you're superimposing things. She could have been a servant for 2 years. The war could have been 2 years ago. And then, like you're putting some time as if it says right after war. This is what you do. War is 1 minute. War is war, and every day is every day. Yeah, and it says
it would be Stockholm syndrome if you gave permission.
Raj, you don't just have to get her permission.
That would be a sellout. That would be a sellout. If the woman fucking gave permission to a man that killed her husband, that would be a major sellout.
All right, so I would say this shit. All right, so listen here. Let me ask you this question. Then,
Let me answer any question because you're getting triggered every time I'm talking.
no. Let me ask you this: if you get killed in battle, if you were killed in battle and your family was captured, including your daughters, your sisters, and mothers, could they ever be a consensual partner with the captors that killed you?
1,500 years ago. That's how
I'm asking you. Could they ever be a consensual partner with the people that killed you? So imagine the British. Imagine the British using Islamic law. 1 minute, don't get triggered. Imagine the British come into Africa. They captured your people and they used the Islamic version of slavery. And what they did, they took them over. And then what happened is that one of them decided they want to go into a relationship with one of your family members who's a female. Could the captor be a consensual partner with one of your family members?
All right. So firstly, yeah, you want to read half of the verse and you don't want to read the rest of it. It says not only you have to get permission from the girl, but from permission from her people and give the due compensation. Yeah. So already you're saying, can she do it without permission? Not only do you have to get permission from her, people have to give the go ahead. And they're obviously
people are in chains as well.
One minute. So
people are in chains as well. So they're captors. So they're under duress.
No.
So if you're killed and then you have your mother, your captive, your sisters, your daughters, how can the mother make a consensual decision when they're under duress as well?
Listen, Raj, the Arabs before, they was already just raping women.
Ras, did you listen to the question, or Ras?
You're not letting, no one's letting me answer. You, Jupiter, all the Islamophobes.
I ain't said nothing, I just asked if you listened.
I'm talking right now and you cut me. Like,
you're not even talking about the answer.
You're not answering directly, yes or no. Can they be a consensual partner? Yeah, can the mother make a make a decision about her daughter when she's a captive of the people that killed her son?
That was everyday life of war back then, fam. So you can't even ask that sort of question.
Oh, people could say that the British, I don't say this, that when they captured Africans and then they enslaved them and took them over to America, that was everyday life. Is that your logic?
No, but what they used to do...
Is that your logic? Because it was an everyday life, it's okay.
Let me tell you the difference, Raj. They wasn't marrying and freeing black women and the black woman was living equal. They was going to barn and raping them out, and that was legal. Yeah, they was raping our children. That was legal. They had legal barns where they could rape our children. I'm not seeing none of this here.
Happy if they were married, then it'd be okay.
Because of the rape that the Arabs were doing before the Prophet, yeah, that the man was just raping women after war.
They just legalized rape. Then is that what you're saying?
1 minute, it shows you correctly that Muslims have to ask with the permission. So it's telling them that you have to ask them. You don't have a choice. You're not allowed.
I'm asking you again. If the mother is being captured with her, with your basically, I'm going to use you as an example so you can empathize with the people that are getting captured, because this happened to my people in India. So what happened is that when you go to war, they will kill the menfolk. They will then capture the females, mothers, daughters, everything. The mother cannot be can she be consensual? Can she be consensual or give her permission if she's under duress?
Well, she would have been killed by someone else, so she's still staying alive, fam. And she might be.
I'm not asking you that. Can she make a decision? Can she make the decision to let her daughter go into a sexual relationship with the captors that killed their family? Can she make a consensual decision? Can she make a decision for her own free will, or is she under duress?
She's not under duress because it's asking for the permission. If it said, okay, if the verse said, so marry them and don't worry about the permission of their people, then you could say that they're allowed to force without the permission.
What if the people's dead, Ras? What if the people's dead?
What do you mean? Then they got it's a common understanding that man's got to go by the woman, then, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? So I think
all right. So
common understanding.
So are you saying then that because the family is giving permission, that doesn't mean you can't have bad parents?
All right.
So I'm going to ask you this question. Imagine you got a mother. Imagine you got a mother who hates her daughter and gives permission for the captors to have sex with you. Is that okay by you?
First thing, tell man when they read out Quran verses, come with the law, because Raj said Quran 23:56, and it says, "Is we hasten for them good things, rather they do not perceive." So the
Oh, so somebody, I didn't get it. Somebody put it in the chat, and I just read it. So someone give the correct Quran verse then.
All right. So the quotes that people are putting about Islam, yeah, in this conversation as truth are lies. Quran.
No. The verse was correct, but the Quran number was wrong.
No.
So you understand that maybe the Quran number was wrong, but the verse is correct. So what I understand from you right now is that you believe that if the British come in with the Islamic slave trade version of slavery, you would be okay with your people to be enslaved. Is that correct?
Fam, it's not about being okay with my people.
No, it is about being okay. It's either yes or no. Are you okay with your family being enslaved under the Islamic slave trade? If the British use the Islamic slave trade version of slavery.
I'm not talking about Islamic slave trade, because like I'm saying, you lot have one perception of what Islamically verified, and Muslims have another translation. So you lot are dealing with two different translations on what it is. I am defending African serfdom, yeah, which was happening in Africa amongst tribes for thousands of years. 1 minute. I am defending African serfdom, in which people were able to get married, in which people had their dignity and had their human rights. Now, in doing the research, I've realized by the textbook of what you're meant to do, yeah, a lot of the similarities or the differences between African serfdom and the Arab the Arab thing, yeah, well, not Arab, actually the Islamic, yeah, was very close to each other. I can get a video from Booker T. Coleman, an African scholar, yeah, saying that both of them two was dealing with serfdom. The first time when your child's child for the near foreseeable future was enslaved was by chattel slavery. The first time when black people exclusively, no one else, you lot are lower, you lot are 3/5 of a human being, you lot are eligible to be enslaved, was chattel slavery. For me, that's the.
Can I ask you a question though? Please, 1 second. Rasmus, can you answer this basic question? Rasmus, answer this basic question. Can you leave it voluntarily under the Islamic slave trade?
True man came on here to light up the British, the dark youth, when he was talking about religious people, not Islam, not Christianity, religious people in early. I'm putting a moral high ground. I came to light him up and show him 1 minute. You're proud of the British. You're proud to be British. True man came to light him up. These lot do what they always do. They divert from Britain to the Arab. Yeah, and Ezra fell for it. You get me? Like,
no, we're showing your hypocrisy.
They don't like
your hypocrisy.
No.
It's on the topic of the day, though.
We're talking about Islamic slavery now. We're talking about slavery.
We're talking about slavery full stop. Yeah, Ezra. We're talking about slavery full stop.
It's exposing the sellout nature of mentality.
One second. I said I was next. Jupiter. I said I was next. Just you can go after me.
Sorry, go on then. Sorry.
Then I'm after Jupiter then.
I just want to read two things here. Like, these are all Sahih Bukhari, because like, obviously we know that Muslims don't just go by the Quran. You get me? Like, they also follow the Hadiths, yeah, and the sayings of Muhammad, innit? So let's read some of those.
Unless the
verse goes again. All right, one second. Yeah. Right, cool. Second. Narrated by Abu Huraira, Sahih Bukhari 3:36-483. The Prophet prohibited the earnings of slave girls through prostitution. So yeah, here's another one narrated by Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, there is no zakat either on a slave or a horse belonging to a Muslim. Yeah. Another one. Right there. This one's the one I was. Right. Abdullah bin Zam, the Prophet said, no one should flog his wife as he flogs a slave and then have sexual intercourse with her in the last part of the day. What the hell is this?
1 minute, give me the
Sahih Bukhari 7:62-132.
Yeah, go on.
The Prophet said, no one should flog his wife
What's the number?
as he... Listen.
I mean, what's the number though?
7, 62, 138, 132, sorry. I'll put it in the chat as well. I'll put it in this back chat thing. Yeah. And it says, the Prophet said, no one should flog his wife as he flogs a slave and then have sexual intercourse with her in the last part of the day. So it's saying, this is okay to do that with a slave. Yeah. But not your wife.
No, it's saying no one should have sexual intercourse.
Sunrise by the look of it, because it said part of the day. So at one part
as he flags a slave, no one should flag his wife as he flags a slave.
Like, obviously, like, you know how man go with the hadith thing. Obviously, if the hadith is going against the tenets of the Quran, man doesn't really take it as Sahih. And then on top of that,
the slaves in the Quran, no. The slaves in the Quran tells you to feed your slaves. Yeah, the same thing. One sec. The Quran tells you to feed your slaves. The same thing.
Come on, Ezra, man. Like, you said your thing. Now that I respond, yeah. So I'm saying that obviously, from my research, what's actually graded Sahih, like there's different madhabs, like the Hanifi have a different thing from some of the Salafis. Like people have debates amongst them on different hadith. So I don't really get into the hadith debate personally. I'm more deal with the Quran because like I don't get into the debate. I know that there's definitely a necessity for hadith to some degree.
Right, so what about Surah 424 then, which says, and all married women are forbidden unto you, save those captives whom your right hand possesses.
Yeah, who are the captives?
A minute.
So that's Surah 424.
All right, let's see what you lot are missing out now.
So it clearly
Can I ask
states,
a question to the group, please?
and all married women are forbidden unto you, save the. So basically, it's saying that married women are forbidden apart from slave girls who you can have sex with, who are your right hand possessors.
Disgusting.
That's in the Quran.
See what I'm saying about
Can I ask a question to the group?
You see what I'm saying about the hypocrisy though? The 5 prayers a day, that's in Bukhari. That's fine. We love that. Yeah, that's fine. But when you talk about selling slaves, yeah. No. Who's the judge? How can you be the judge?
All right, I'm sharing my screen. And this is when I say Raj and them man are devils. You done what James SC done. Yeah, they read half of the verse and they don't read it all. And then it's a lie, Raj, that you're pushing about Islam. And you do this a lot, Raj.
No, it's happening in India. We have a saying in India, Bara Vajaya sings Pagal Honde, because our females used to get captured under the right hand possessors. And we used to rescue them. So don't tell me that this is a lie, because it happened to my people.
Right, if I read the full verse,
my people, no.
If I read the full verse, people can put a 1 in the chat if you try to deceive them. Yeah,
I read from the internet, so what can I say?
You didn't read the full verse.
Well, I can only read what I've seen on there, so I was looking for it.
Them because the full verse says, and also prohibited to you are married women except those who your right hand possess. This is the decree of Allah upon you, and lawful to you are beyond these that you seek them in marriage. Yeah, with gifts. Property, so you seek them in marriage and not unlawful sexual intercourse.
I believe even if you had sex with them or married them, you're still committing rape.
Yeah, who gives a fuck
I still believe it's rape. I still believe it's rape. So you can't have sex with a captive of war.
Right, we're not going to agree on this, Raj. We're not going to agree on this. Can I ask a question to the group, please? Yeah, because I think it's a very important question and it's directed at the whole group. Now, I understand Jupiter's position that, you know, she thinks her people own England, so they should be able to keep it the way they want it and keep their people at the higher percentage. Now, I want to ask the rest of the group, does everyone else agree that no man should have dominion over no place on this earth, because God created this earth? So God, the Most High, is the only one with dominion, so we should all have to share, because man was given dominion over the animals and dominion over the planet, but he was not given dominion over other men, and he was not given dominion over the land to carve it up as he saw fit.
No one's in the chat. This ain't the lines then, man.
I'm just asking, do we all agree? Do we all agree with that in the group? Obviously, I know Jupiter doesn't.
Press 1. Where's the ones?
Hey Raj, you're gonna answer my question.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, I don't believe anyone has dominion over any other man. Yeah, we are all free. We're all free, and I do believe in God. So you know, I believe God ultimately has.
So we should all have rights. No matter where we are, we should be able to go any place on this earth, and we should all be able to eat from the fruits of the land, and no one should be able to stop us.
No, I don't believe in that. You can't just suddenly come to where like any other country and just suddenly pop down there and say you don't own no
country. Raj, your people don't own no country. When did they? Well, hold on, Raj. When did your people pay God for the country they say they own? When did they pay?
What I'm saying is that we still have.
I'm done talking. Go on, you don't carry on. I'm done talking.
Yeah, so
answer what he's saying.
Jupiter, Jupiter to keep this country white because he doesn't. And also, Jupiter called some of the people the other day, and that's the ally against Islam. That's what the alliance. You're gonna realize.
Right, here we go with a false narrative. I didn't say I want to keep the country white. I said I want to keep it predominantly white. And I want it 80%. So what you're talking about?
Can I just say that what Ship is saying?
You don't have a choice. The planet is owned by God. Your country is owned by the Most High. You never paid for it, so everybody should have a fair chance.
Already in existence. Grow up, respect. Wake up.
Shipper, what you're saying?
No. My main point is sexual intercourse.
Say that again, my brother.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm saying what you're saying sounds great in an ideal world, but in light of the fact that everybody has differences in the way that they perceive things and the way that they want to live their life, it's not practical to have people just come into like you yourself in your home. You could
so was I right? Was I right in saying that the evil resides in the people?
Hold on, Shifa. You said God has dominion over everywhere, so therefore everyone should be able to go where they like. Does that mean that I could come to your house tomorrow and have the keys and let myself in whenever?
Checkmate. This is what it means, my brother. This is what it means. I'm going to tell you what it means. You asked the question. This is what it means. It means whatever land I am in. No, listen. This is what it means. It means whatever land I am in. It means whatever land I am in. Jupiter wants to talk over me because she knows she's a charlatan and a pagan. Now, it means whatever land I am in, yeah, you should have the same rights as me. So if I've got the right to a home with a key and somewhere to lie my head down and electricity and food, you should have the same rights and you should be given the same. That's what it means. It don't mean you got the rights to walk into my house and take what belongs to me and take the fruits of my labor. It means we should all be able to share though, and I should be able to show you charity if you're going without.
Just quickly, yeah. When it's got on the screen, yeah. So this is what Rod. So Rod, stop the thing here. But after here, you see, it's all about not having unlawful sexual intercourse. That's what the actual verse is about.
But I've said to you that I don't believe anyone who's been captured in war can be a consensual partner and is under duress, and anyone having sex with them would be raping them, even if you married them.
I'm going to get the clip because at first it was about you can sleep with women and you don't.
Well, you can. It says you have 4 wives and you can have sex with your right hand possessors.
Are you listening? That's what you said at first, but like anyone with eyes can see that you lot use half a verse like kill them wherever you find them, yeah, and don't like to say the verse about you can't fight anyone that's not fighting you. That's the main thing with Islam.
Right, so what does this mean then? And all married women are forbidden unto you. Save those captives whom your right hand possesses. Just that one verse by itself, because it says. Hold on, just read this one. All married women are forbidden unto you. Save those captives whom your right hand possesses. So,
before you go, yeah, big up Veli Vision, big up everyone listening. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you log into the Lions Den, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you log into Pinero's Mind, hit the subscribe button. And peace and love to everyone in the chat room. I love you all, including you, Jupiter. I just want you to change your ways. And blessings.
Peace.
Peace, though. Big up yourself, cuz. Yeah.
So what we need to establish here is that we found out one thing today, that you are the biggest sellout, Respect. You are the biggest sellout, Respect. You call everybody else sellout. That's a fact.
Jupiter called someone a P-word. All of the Asians were angry. You said nothing. Twice. She laughed when someone was called the P-word.
Well, I'm going to talk to her later on. I've not been online for a couple of days.
Is in one. Yeah, I said 2-pack is in one. Yeah. Because he thinks he's a fucking little 2-pack, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So don't say that, Jupiter. Come on, man. I'll speak to you later on. Just relax.
You're the one who gave them the agree to say these stuff. You're the sellout.
Let me explain what, because you've been playing that same video.
No Arab around me. The last time a Bengali boy tried to call
But
my
you'd let them enslave you, though. You'd let them enslave you. That's okay. You won't let them say that, but you'd let them enslave you and your people. That's cool. Okay. What's worse?
Listen. Every time the Arabs came and tried to invade Sub-Saharan Africa, we beat them up and I'm proud. Yeah?
No, but you said earlier that if the Brits used the Islamic slave trade ideology, you'd be okay with it.
Listen.
Didn't you say that?
Sub-Saharan Africa had people like Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa had loads of servitude, the richest man on the planet, but he managed to spread equally with love and peace and guidance. I'm dealing with Mansa Musa when I'm talking about Islam.
All right, so let me ask you this basic question: can a servant, someone under servitude, leave their master?
1 minute.
Can someone under servitude just walk out and leave their master without no repercussions? Yes or no?
Plotting against man has to make sure you.
Can a servant under servitude that you call servitude, can they leave their master without any repercussions?
No, they have a freedom after a certain time.
All right, so they're not servants, they're slaves.
No, slaves.
You do understand that, don't you? If you cannot leave without some kind of repercussions, you're a slave.
Do you understand that in chattel slavery you couldn't be free? Do you understand that your child's child was going to be a slave?
All slavery was terrible. Chattel slavery was evil.
If the master let you go,
Right,
so if the master let you go, you'll be free.
So let me say something. Let me 1 minute. Let me say something. So all slavery is terrible. It's evil. Chattel slavery is one of the worst, no doubt about it. But it doesn't mean that Arab slavery was good. So I will give you the analogy. So let me finish. Stop being triggered. Let me finish the sentence.
You people. 1 minute. 1
Mid-sentence.
No.
Mid-sentence. Let me finish. You can talk. Let me finish. Let me finish. I'm mid-sentence. Let me talk on mid-sentence. I'm mid-sentence, and you cut me.
Minute.
So let me finish. I'll let you talk here. So I'm saying all slavery is evil. Now, chattel slavery, 100% is one of the worst forms of slavery, no doubt about it. But it doesn't mean that Arab slave trade can be condoned. It's like saying someone punched you in the face and then someone slapped you in the face. Both of them are terrible, and both of them are going to hurt. But one of them definitely being punched in the face is worse. So what you're doing here, let me finish. You're so triggered, you can't even let me finish. What you're doing here is trying to say this. Okay, the Islamic slave trade was the worst slave trade, but because the Arab slave trade gave you a little bit more freedom, that is then permissible. You are a joke. Your people were enslaved. You should be against this slavery. My people were enslaved at some points, which is why I'm against what your right hand possesses so much, because it actually affected my people in India. So you are a disgrace. You are the number one sellout. No doubt about it. After number one, hands down. You make us get there. I mean, Reggie and me don't look like nothing compared to the sellout you've been doing in the last couple of days, man. It's
undercover wrestling, man.
Alright, cool.
Some people bought into your hype, man, when you came on the scene that you were against slavery. You're losing a lot of subscribers, bro. I mean, people are just listening to laugh now, man.
Alright, cool. Yeah.
It's terrible.
So, I've already said I condemn the Arab slave trade and the European slave trade. I do not call it a Christian slave trade. I do not call it Islamic. The reason why is because there's Christian empires in Greece, you had in Egypt, in Russia, in Ethiopia that never practiced chattel slavery. So I cannot put slavery on the whole Christian church. In the same way, I don't call it Islamic slavery. I call it the Arab slave trade. And I believe that any time that the Arabs oppressed and went above their jurisdiction.
What's happened? The Arabs have taken him because he's doing so much damage. I think he's gone. You know, Arabs were like, respect.
It's a good thing, man. It's a good thing. The respect is coming off line soon, man.
The only person on this panel that has advocated against the Arab trafficking that's going on in Libya is me. I'm the only one with credentials. I'm the only one who hit the road. None of you care about black people. You are using the oppression of black people as a political ploy against Muslims and Islam. And it's disgraceful what you're doing. Are you
doing that against the far right? Are you using it? Are you doing the same thing? 1 second. I'm going after this.
Let him finish and then go after him.
It's my Somali brothers that are being enslaved in Libya. So when you say it's Islam, yeah, you're doing a disservice to the actual brothers that are part of the religion. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that instead of making it Islam thing, I get onto the Libyans that are trafficking the brothers and the brothers trying to sell brothers to them Libyans. That's who I headshot. Them man there. I don't make it about their religion. That's the only difference I've got. Any oppression from anyone, whether they're black, white, Arab, or anything, yeah, I'm not for that. But if you try to oppress me, I ain't gonna lie. Back in them days with Shaka Zulu, I would have captured man. So if you're putting it in the context of Shaka Zulu, was he morally right in that time? Yes. In this day and age, we're not living like that. We don't have to go out to war. We don't have to go out with our families and bring our families to war and all of these things. But they did have to 400 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,500 years ago. Now, all that happens. 1 minute. All that happens now.
Let him talk.
All right. All that happens now today is the same British title, yeah, that we was originally talking about, that man diverted to Muslims from, yeah. The same British title that Reggie, Jupiter, and Raj hold, yeah, is bombing children right now. And the children are Muslim, yeah. Like a lot of the children are Muslim. And before they started bombing the Muslims, they was bombing black people, yeah. So if I stand in solidarity with Muslims who are being oppressed, there's no shame in that. Against the Britain, 100%. I stand up.
We're not talking about that sellout spec. Sellout spec. You need to calm down. We're not talking about.
Shall I tell you what, Raj, I did say I was going next. Yeah.
Yeah, go on. You talk on.
This is why I don't like the disingenuous now, because we've just read how, like, it doesn't matter what Raspet believes. We're talking about Islam now, which is all of it, the sayings, what, you get me, and the hadiths and the blood clot Quran, you get me. It's all of these things. It's not just what Raspet wants to believe. Yeah. Muslims have their own definition of their religion, yeah, and it encompasses all three. We've just read how, according to those hadiths, which are sahih, which these people follow as their religion, yeah, the slavery, especially of black people, is halal. You get me? So what I'm saying is, like, it just sounds dumb when someone's here defending it, yeah, when it's a part of their religion. It's a mad thing.
Well, the thing is, yeah, Raspet probably doesn't know this, but you know, like we saw the other week.
Let name talk. Let's sell out. Let a man like Reggie talk. Sell out spec.
Like I said, with the same conviction and passion that you have, saying that a man will come on and tell you, Reggie, and me that based upon the Bible, yeah, we condone rape. It's in the Bible. No, they don't want to hear what any of us say. Yeah, we actually read the Bible. We adhere to this thing, but they don't want to listen to us. Yeah,
you know what I'll do? I'll go to the verse.
1 minute.
Let's sell out spec talk, Israel. Let's sell out spec talk.
And trying to act like people that read the Bible promote pedophilia, or like God. What was God trying to do? What was God trying to say? Yeah. And for me personally, yeah, I disagree with that, because I'm dealing with the people that actually read the Bible. I'm dealing with the people that actually read the Quran. But there's such a hate from people like Raj and Jupiter and Reggie for Muslims in general, which is why they're right wing. Yeah, they'll use any debate that we're having ideologically and try to capitalize in it, and that's why they're here.
Actually, I've got nothing against Muslims, and you.
Jupiter, let's sell out spec talk. Let's sell out spec. Let's sell out spec. Sell out spec talk.
My thing has been African unity, yeah, and actions speak louder than words. When Arabs have misused people in Libya, I didn't just talk online and use it as a talking point to get at Muslims. I actually went out, not only in this country, but to Gambia, yeah, and we actually put money towards the planes that brought people back. You lot ain't done nothing for the Libyans. You don't give a shit about the Libyans, just like you don't give a shit about Africans.
You don't know what I've done. I keep telling you, stop going around saying people ain't done nothing. You don't know what they give money to. You don't know what's in my bank. You think you do, you don't know fuck all.
When Tommy Robinson calls black people backward barbarians, you're the first people to defend it. So don't act like, and another thing I'm going to say is, there's a little Somali sister that was drowned the other day, yeah? And you know why she was drowned? Because people like you justify people calling Somalis backward barbarians. Those girls forced her to get into the river, yeah? And she drowned because they're hearing the rhetoric of people like Tommy Robinson on Somalis. That affects
Yeah. And do you know what? Just the other day in Libya, there was...
You see what I'm saying? You can't tell lies like that. I know someone who works at that school. Listen,
there was a woman who went out a window and got fucking dropped by an Arab. They just let her drop to the floor and die. So what are you talking about, Respect?
Bring your proof. Bring your proof.
Well, you bring your proof that was to do with Tommy Robinson. We'll do it both ways. Don't tell her to bring her proof, and then you bring your proof. Go on. How was that drowning, which is I send my commiserations, to do with Tommy Robinson? Have you got proof of that?
Well, the thing is, it's a good thing. Respect recently announced on his channel that he wants to step back from doing shows, and I think the slavery topic would do himself a favor if he stopped going into these topics.
Well,
I remember having this conversation a year ago.
We've learned
It was the same damaging show. You know, that's one of the reasons why he fell out of Real as well, because he was doing the same apologetics. But it's interesting. A year on, he's still maintaining this. Actually, it's even worse. It's actually even got worse.
Well, the thing is, I mean, we learned today that if he would allow his people to be slaved if the British used the Islamic slave trade ideology in order to enslave his people, which is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's embarrassing that somebody would even say that.
About
a
week ago between Wilder.
That's why you're now known as sellout spec. Sellout spec.
All right. Well, I made it very clear on multiple videos, that I would put a bullet in the head of the slave master, in Libya, or anyone that's mistreated another human being. I don't care about his race. So the Arab slave trade, that's what I condemn. Because there's nothing Islamic about it, because they went against the principles of Islam as far as I know it. Same with the Christian, call it a Christian slave trade. There was nothing Christian about it. But I do know that the same tenets of Islam, were used to, that same verse that I've read was used to actually abrogate and abolish slavery.
So just to confirm, you would be okay with the British who come to your lands 300 or 400 years ago to enslave your people and take them to America if they used the Islamic version of slavery. Is that correct? You said it earlier. Yeah.
People saying that black people that are a black man owning another black man is a sellout. Well, before there was even Christianity and Islam in Africa, there was serfdom. Man had tribal. We had tribal wars, and we was capturing each other. The same thing was going on.
Does that mean it's okay for Arabs to do it to us?
I'm not saying it's okay for anyone to do to anyone.
What are you on about?
What do you mean, fam? I'm not talking about the actual. I'm talking about the system itself, and I'm differentiating between what this system was and what that.
What are you saying? Exactly the exact same thing. One second.
Bro, you know.
Jupiter, 1 second.
I mean,
Jupiter, please. We're talking about black slavery.
Let Ezra talk on.
All I'm saying is, are you saying that there's no difference between the slavery that has happened to black people under the Islamic Arabs, not just the pre-Islamic Arabs, the Islamic Arabs, and the African serfdom that we know of, where you could serve your time and become free and all that stuff, Are you saying that these two? 1 sec. Are you saying these two things are the same?
I'm saying that is the Arab. I don't call it Christian slave trade. I don't call it Islamic slave trade.
I'm not asking if you call it Christian. Are you saying are they the same?
I condemn it. I differentiate from the religion.
Are they the same thing, Respect? Listen to the question I'm asking you. Listen to the actual question, fam. I don't like this diverting thing. This diverting is not Respect. This diverting thing is disingenuous. Ask you a specific question.
I am not diverting, fam. Are you listening, fam?
Listen to let me ask the question again, then, because you're talking about stuff that I'm not even asking about. I'm asking about the African serfdom, and the Islamic slavery that we have seen, and the Arabic slavery that we've seen. Are these two things the same thing?
That's what Booker T. Coleman, the brother from Hidden Color.
You said you don't deal with man in it. I'm asking you.
Damn, are you listening? I deal with historians, but I don't deal with a man I don't know. Bruv, you read out a random.
Do you know that guy? Do you know that guy? Do you know him?
Booker T. Coleman, he was on Hidden Colors 1 and 2.
Where you know him from?
What do you mean? I watched a lot of his videos. I've researched a lot.
That means you know him because you watch it.
Booker T. Coleman.
They wouldn't fucking take that bloke's videos down.
Even if a man don't agree with him on that, bruv, you can't say Booker T. Coleman isn't a giant under the historians that we have in America, fam. Yeah,
I'm asking you, are you saying, yeah, the African serfdom that we can easily pull up now and go and study, and the Islamic slavery, yeah, and the same things? Are you saying that the sub-Saharan slave, what happened to black people in the sub-Saharan slave trade, where we was marched into Arabia and North Africa, yeah? Are you saying that is the exact same thing as African serfdom?
I'm saying they're more.
Really not throwing in the towel for Respect, you know. All this time he's
let him go, Reggie, let him go. Are you saying they're the same? Go on.
No, I'm not saying they're the same.
All right, and so don't use that as an example then, because they're not the same. Stop doing that stuff, man.
I don't believe in, fam, what you're talking about. I don't believe in. I believe in the Arabic slave trade. You get me? I believe in the Arabs. I don't believe in a Christian slave trade. I don't think there's no, because there was Christians that wasn't doing it. So I don't attach it to the religion personally, because when I'm talking to the different people, that's not what I think Christians and Muslims are in their churches and mosques, like learning. I think they're learning about the verses which are talking about people should free up people. We're living in a time where everyone's free now.
That's, you know what you're saying, man? That's like saying we can't call it the American slave trade because not every single American was involved in it. You can't call it the transatlantic slave trade because not everybody on the other side of the Atlantic was involved in it. You're just making excuses, fam. It's the Arab slave trade.
All right, Ezra. All right, Ezra. Why don't we call it the Christian slave trade then?
Because yeah, it was Europeans, it was a people before they even knew what was going on. They, like you said, like they never even did this on Bible principles. Yeah, they did it on economic principles and wickedness.
No, they based on the Bible.
Listen, let me answer.
Yeah, but remember as well, Respect's being disingenuous because he knows that.
No. Call him sellout spec. Call him sellout. His name's not Respect. It's sellout spec. It's sellout spec. Just call him sellout spec.
He took pages out of the Bible and to get people to do these things and to enslave people.
The same.
You know, their whole intention was so that the people won't understand the fullness of the Bible, and they had to do that. Otherwise, people wouldn't have gone along with what they were trying to do.
So that's what I'm saying. So that's the same thing, yeah. And misrepresenting.
They didn't take any page out of the Quran to get people to do it.
They had the full Bible when they was justifying it, bro. Like, so what I'm saying is,
during that time they used to read the Bible out to people and read people what they wanted to. That
100%, and that's what I'm saying. I condemn
the same thing.
I condemn the oppression, but that ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. And for me, oppression ain't got that.
I never said it was. Listen. I'm saying, yeah, it was hadiths and that Christians follow that tells them to go and bring people to Christianity in chains, just like there is Islam and the hadiths and Muhammad's sayings. Yeah. Then guess what? When they believe this is Sahih coming from their prophet, and it says to go and bring people to Islam in chains. Yeah. If they go and do that, you can't say it's not an Islamic thing, bro. You chatting rubbish. I'm sorry.
For me, bro, I look at the authentication when it comes to I look deep into authentication. I don't just take a thing that a man says is Sahih and take it as Sahih. And I know a lot of the madhabs have got different views on hadith. So man can't say everything is classed as Sahih to one is classed as Sahih to another. Because among all the different madhabs, there's different beliefs, and among different Muslims, there's different beliefs. So,
but on the basic note, do you believe that owning another human being is wrong, even if you're going to set them free? Do you believe it's wrong at its core?
I believe to set humans free. What, this
no, I'm not asking you to set that. I'm asking you at the core. Forget about the part about setting them free. Is it wrong? Hold on. Is it wrong to own another human being? Yes or no? Just on that first. Let's establish that first. Is it wrong? No. Is it wrong? Yeah. Is it wrong to own another human being? Yes or no first? Then we go to the next bit in a second.
You're listening. That's what I'm saying.
No. Is it, because I can say it's wrong to own another human being. Yeah? No. Is it wrong? Well, hold up. Is it wrong to own another human being? I would say yes, it's wrong. Is it wrong? Yes or no?
You don't think it's wrong, Raj? Do you agree with the system?
Is it wrong to own another human being? Yes or no?
Prisons for profit. You call people.
Is it wrong to own another human being? Yes or no?
Police, Raj. Do you disagree?
Is it wrong? Stop tap dancing. Doing the Sufi dance. Come on, stop doing the Sufi dance. Come on. We're not gonna let you dance. Come on. Is it wrong to own another human being? Yes or no?
I'm gonna answer.
Stop. Yeah, yes or no?
I'm gonna answer. If someone tries to kill someone in this country, they'll go to a prison, where they'll be owned by the state, and there's prisons for profit, so the state is making money.
Is it wrong to own another human? Yes or no?
Not by your system, no.
No. Is it wrong to own another human being by Islamic system?
Human beings. You're British.
Is it right or wrong to own another human being under Islamic system?
It can't be
Yes
that
or
hard
no?
to answer the question. It can't be that hard. It can't.
Bro, what do you mean, fam? I'm telling him that he believes in the police, fam.
Is it wrong?
doesn't matter what he
Is
believes,
it
he's asking you,
wrong?
don't it?
I'm asking you. Stop doing the Sufi dance. Stop tap dancing.
They know the answer. The answer is the same as yours, Ezra.
No. Mine is no.
Well, then just say
It's
answer then
wrong.
to the top and
Is it wrong to own another human being? Yes or no?
How many times am I going to answer this guy, fam? The same answer, bro.
You haven't answered this question. Because you said earlier that you would be okay with your people to be enslaved by the British if they use the Islamic slave trade ideology. Yeah? Is it wrong to own another human being? Yes or no?
All right. This is exactly what
We'll rewind it. We got you saying, agreeing that if the Brits come into Africa and then use the Islamic way of enslaving people, that you would be happy or okay with your people to be enslaved under the Islamic version of slavery if the British use that. Yeah, you said that.
Yo, one thing I didn't say Islamic because what you believe is Islamic and what I believe is Islamic is two different things. What I said is Irish servitude. And I would, because it's voluntary. You go for 7-8 years and then you get land. So
no, we're not talking about Irish service. Stop tap dancing. Stop tap dancing and doing the Sufi dance. We're talking about the Islamic slave trade that doesn't always free people.
I can't use the Islamic slave trade as an example because what you're saying it is and what I'm saying it is.
All right, so let's just stick to the main topic. You still have not 1 minute. But hold on. Let me do this. Let me put the dirt on the grave. So I'm asking you this: when I can say this, that it's wrong to own another human being, yeah? Are you okay? Can you just say that it's wrong to own another human being? Yes or no?
I believe in the just like it said in the Bible.
Yes or no? Is slavery wrong? Yes or no?
It's not a yes or no question.
It is a yes or no question. So if you said it means slavery wrong, let me ask the people on the panel. Ezra, is slavery wrong?
Not if you're slaving someone who slaved you.
All right, Jupiter, is slavery wrong?
Absolutely.
Man like Reggie, is slavery wrong?
Yeah, I think it's.
Ultra Funky, is slavery wrong? Oh, atheists are done out here. I would say slavery is wrong. Is it wrong to enslave people? Yes or no?
My answer is the same as Ezra's.
Yeah, all right, say it then.
Not if it's people that are trying to come and enslave you.
All right, so if they're not coming to enslave you, is it wrong?
100%.
That wasn't even
Okay. So we've established now. That you disagree with slavery. Cool.
The Bible says, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." Yeah, and that's a golden rule. And Islam's people to that.
Testament.
So one minute. Are you retracting what you said earlier? That I asked you the hypothetical. So let me just clarify. 1 minute. Yeah. Let me clarify. I asked you earlier. 1 minute. I asked you earlier. Would you allow your family, to be enslaved? Yeah, say your people. You know, if the British come into Africa, but they instead of using a transatlantic slave trade, they use the Islamic slave trade. Yeah, in terms of Islam, and you said you'd be okay with them to do that if they use the Islamic slave trade, not the transatlantic slave trade.
I really said I don't believe in an Islamic slave trade, like I don't believe in a Christian slave trade, like I don't believe in a Sikh slave trade, like I don't believe in a Buddhist slave trade. In Islam, it's like what they do with the Muslim grooming gangs. You're adding is Islam.
No, don't tap dance. Stick onto the thingy. Don't go to grooming. Don't go to grooming. Stop tap dancing. Don't do the stuffy dance. Stick on point. We're talking about slavery, not grooming. You don't
do that with Christians. You don't call it the Christian slave trade. You call it the transatlantic slave trade because that's what this country told you to call it. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if anything, it was the British Empire slave trade. You know what I'm saying?
But you said that under the British, I asked you a hypothetical. If the British here, instead of using their transatlantic slave trade and they use the Islamic version of slavery, you said you'll be okay with it. So you would be okay if the British become Muslim, went into your country and started enslaving you. Is that correct?
All right. So, no, that's not what I said.
You did say that. We'll rewind it. I'll go over the show later on my channel and I'll go through it and I'll show you said that.
Yeah, but by his own admission, right? His own admission, if he's going to go by the Old Testament, right? do unto others what they do unto you. He can't even complain about fucking Atlantic slavery or about fucking profit prisons or whatever he calls it, because he thinks it's okay under some kind of fucking notion that he's got.
No, look, respect you. I know you've taken a lot of losses this week, so I'm feeling a bit sorry for you. Are you actually now Muslim? Because you sound like you're defending something because you actually believe in it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it is, Raj. You're an Islamophobe and you're trying to
Oh, Islamophobe, because I'm against slavery. I'm against slavery, so I'm an Islamophobe.
No, because you don't.
I'm against slavery. I'm an Islamophobe. Oh my God, I think slavery is bad. I'm an Islamophobe. How dare I have an opinion that is slavery is wrong? How dare I?
No, because you don't call it.
What?
You don't call it the British slave trade. You don't attack anything British.
I have said the transatlantic slave trade the British done is one of the worst crimes against humanity. What more do you want me to say? I think it's one of the worst crimes against humanity. The transatlantic slave trade is one of the worst crimes committed against another man. I am saying that. How am I condoning that?
And that's where my contention is. You say one of, but when we start talking about the specifics of the systems, you don't want to talk about that because that's the problem. I ain't saying that one's good and one's bad. I'm saying
you are saying that. Stop tap dancing, man. Stop doing the Sufi dance. You're saying, all right. So let me ask you this then: is slavery bad? Yes or no?
Let me tell you what I'm saying. I am a man who studied history from a war perspective. Hannibal, Shaka Zulu, like these are people that in our culture we respect. You understand? These men had to capture people. Like that's what happened. Man tried to war them. They had to capture people. Even when someone tried to war Haile Selassie, you had to put him in a mosque.
So that's what the Brits will say when they captured your people, won't they? They will say that they were fighting with them and they captured them and enslaved them. Are you condoning that then?
There's a guy.
Are you condoning the British taking your people, saying that they warred with them and they took them as captives? Are you cool with that now?
Listen,
I don't know. I'm asking you a question because the Brits can use that argument that they were warring with you and they took you as slaves because they were at war with you. Are you okay with that?
It depends who the aggressor is. If
your people were the aggressor, you would be okay. You would be okay then with the Brits to take. Say if your people were the aggressors, would you be okay for your people to be enslaved then by the Brits because they were the aggressors? Yes or no?
I wouldn't be okay if they won in anything.
No. Would you accept it though? Would you be okay? I can't complain now because my people started the fight.
No, okay. Let me give you an example. If I go to someone's house and I punch them in the face and I get sliced up, and whoever I'm with gets sliced up, I deserved it. All right. So you're saying that if your people in Africa warred with a different tribe and they got captured by that tribe and then they sold them to the British, you think they deserved it then? Well, that's what I'm saying. You see, the British.
All right, so you're done out here because you're saying there's no. You're justifying because they started a fight that they can then be enslaved and brutalized by the British, who used them as cattle and then took them over to transatlantic slave trade. You're condoning that, then, are you?
Exactly, he's nuts.
Yeah. Oh, madam.
100%. Did you just say 100? Did you just say 100?
Let me.
Did you just say 100?
Why are you cutting me? Why are you cutting me?
I can't believe what I'm hearing, man. You're the biggest sellout, yeah. Since goddamn, who's the biggest sellout I've ever met, yeah? I don't know who it is, but you're over them now.
Raj.
Oh, you're Django Unchained, that guy in the house, yeah. What's his name? Samuel Jackson. He's like him.
Let me tell you your tactics.
What's that guy's name? What's that guy's name from Django Unchained? The guy in the house.
What you do is you say something.
Uncle Ruckus. You're the biggest sellout since Uncle Ruckus.
No.
Your Uncle Ruckus here on steroids. You
can't have a man like Raj shedding me if I'm like.
Sellout Spec here is the biggest sellout here since Uncle Ruckus.
Raj's tactic is to ask a question and then he doesn't let me respond.
Oh, respond. Well, you normally. This is how we feel when you're in the snowflake den. When you ask a question and you chuck us in a back chat. This is why you can't take the heat. That's why you don't let me. That's why you ban me from your show. Because I'm shelling you hard. I'm now banned from your show here because you can't take the heat when it's just one-on-one here. When it's one-on-one, me and you know I'm going to show you hard. That's why you have banned me from the show because you can't take the heat.
What concerns me more is this is what you're telling the young black youth.
I mean,
You are going to brainwash the young brat with you to believe what you believe. That's what's dangerous.
man.
Yeah, let's tell out Spec talk for a second. Go on.
Oh, let me tell you lot something, yeah. I promise you that if you watch it back, they make statements and then they all start talking over me because they know the pungency of what man's saying. I ain't here. I don't care what the people in the YouTube chat that don't like Muslims perceive. You get me? If you're saying everyone,
I'll stop using this thing that we don't like Muslims because we don't like slavery. You're a disgrace. We don't like slavery. We're against slavery, not Muslims. All slavery. Whether white people do it, Chinese people do it, Asians do it. We're against slavery. Stop making it into an Islamophobia thing. You're a disgrace for doing that.
All right. I'm the Raj. When you was in your yard, not caring about the Libyan slaves, I've been on the road and put money into getting the people them free. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, Raj. So I'm against slavery.
Did you tell them that you wouldn't mind if they were the aggressors, if they were enslaved then? Did you tell them that?
In action, I'm against slavery more than everyone on this panel and most people in the chat that I can show evidence for. I'm against slavery, I advocate against slavery, and I really put my time, my money, my energy, my life where my mouth is. To the point
Is all slavery bad then? Is all slavery bad? Yes or no?
I've already said.
Well, just say it again. Is all slavery bad? Yes or no?
Question over and over again.
No, because you're saying you're against slavery and that you're going to these marches, but what you're saying here is contradictory because you, on the one hand, go to these marches, which is pointless if you believe in slavery.
I didn't go to a march. I was one of the core organizers.
It's pointless if you agree with slavery, isn't it?
No, it's not.
If I go to a march here against, say, domestic abuse, and then I'm beating my wife, is that what's the point of me doing that? If I go to a meeting or a protest against drugs, but I'm high out of my head on crack, what's the point? So what you're doing is the equivalent. You're going to a march here against slavery, but you're for slavery.
Raj.
You're actually doing more damage than actually not going. You might as well sit at home here and do the tap dance or do your Sufi dance all day.
Raj, is African serfdom the same as slavery?
African, if the person, let me tell you something. If somebody cannot voluntarily leave, somebody's like if someone's a servant, but they can't voluntarily leave, I say that is slavery, not servitude.
Of course, it's slavery.
Can that person, under serfdom leave voluntarily? Yes or no?
Raj, that's your belief. Now, people in my community.
No. Let me ask everybody in the chat. Ezra, if you can't leave here, somebody under servitude, is it slavery or is it servitude?
Let me talk, Raj. Let me talk, Raj.
Slavery? Yeah, most people, yeah.
That's like you're just thinking a whole deeper. You need to stop talking about it. That's the thing.
No. I just checkmated it. It's checkmated now. Because
you not checkmated no one. You haven't even moved a piece on the board. You're playing Connect 4 or Tiddlywinks, man. You've been done at here, man. You're not on the board. Don't say you're playing chess. You're not playing nothing, man. All you're doing is skipping and tap dancing all day.
Let me tell you why it's checkmate.
You're tap dancing and do the Sufi dance, man. Just get onto the chessboard and maybe I might respect you.
Let me tell you why it's checkmate. Yeah, like I said, yeah. African serfdom, you've just said, Rod, that you see African serfdom the same as chattel slavery. Yeah,
I didn't say that. When did I say that?
They couldn't leave.
No. I said that there's different forms of slavery. I said that the worst form of slavery definitely was a chattel slavery, but all slavery is bad. I'm saying that if you are in somebody's, you're owned by somebody, and you can't leave, you are a slave.
Yeah, I
simple question, Respect. Simple question. Yeah, if you're a slave to a Muslim, if you're possessed by somebody's right hand, yeah, do you have the option to just leave and go about your business?
I can't lie. I wouldn't trust. Obviously, them Libyan man are claiming to be Muslim. I don't trust in Muslims.
Ras, I'm not asking about Libyan man. I'm saying according to Islam, that verse that says, your right hand possesses. Yeah, if you're somebody's right hand possession, yeah, you have the option to just leave and go home.
But it's the same concubines that's in the Bible, bro.
No, forget about the Bible. Stop deflecting and doing the Sufi dance and answer the goddamn question.
You can't ask me these questions.
No, we can ask you. If you can't take the heat, leave. You can't take the heat, leave. You're not in the snow. Oh, hold on, Ezra, 1 minute, Ezra. You're not in the snowflakes then, yeah. You haven't got control over the panel.
You know why, yeah? You man are asking the same questions over and over again. Raj asked that.
And you ain't answering it. No,
You're not answering
it. You're saying, yeah, that it's okay. It's only servitude. It's fine. You get me? So we're saying, yeah, are you a possession of that person? Yes or no? Then you go, yes or no?
I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay.
I never asked if it's okay. I said, can you leave?
Can you leave if you're with these people under servitude, can you just walk out the door and leave? Yes or no?
Left them, are you just able to leave?
Yes, so you're a slave.
All right, but it's not.
You're a slave. It doesn't matter whether you call it servitude or whether you call it cuddling, whether you call it, I don't know, the Sufi dance. It's slavery. If you cannot leave somebody, yeah, without repercussions, you are a slave. I don't care whether you put little snowflakes on there and say, oh, it's a good form of slavery. It's a slavery. Full stop.
I'm not talking. I haven't talked about Islamic slave trade. I've talked about indentured servitude for the Irish.
No, I've said to you that indentured servitude, if they tried to leave, what would happen to them? What do you think would happen to them if they tried to leave? Yes, what do you think would happen to them?
Enslaved, it's all the fucking same thing.
They'll be punished.
Yes, so you're a slave.
But they volunteered though.
No, it doesn't matter whether you volunteered, because some people, some people are in such dire circumstances that they feel that their only option is to kind of go into their enemy's hands rather than dying. So you're still a slave. There is no form of slavery that is good. If you are captured or you are working for someone, but you cannot leave, you're a slave. If I can't just get up and say, I'm going home, yeah, because I don't want to do this bullshit job,
Exactly.
You're a slave.
I think this is based on people's experiences.
It's not experiences. Stop Sufi dancing, man. This is not experience. This is logic. This is not subjective. This is objective.
Yo, you man. These man talk for time and then they don't let me talk. That's the thing.
Yeah, go.
They talk for time and they don't let me talk. That's the tactic.
Well, that's what you do to us on your the snowflakes then. He does it on the snowflakes then all the time, but he's okay with it.
The only time I put Raj in the back is when he's completely cutting people.
No, you can't take me because you know I'm gonna bomb fire on you, yeah, and you're shitting yourself. Just answer the question, yeah. Yeah. Answer the question. Is it slavery?
Listen, Raj. Listen, Raj. When you came in, I could have ducked out. I'm here because man's roasting you. I don't care what you do.
You're not roasting nothing, man. You haven't roasted nothing. You're literally burnt to a crisp. Yeah, everybody has literally burnt you to a crisp. You're in your grave and everyone's put the dirt on you, put the flowers down, and even giving you a goddamn headstone, and you still think you're winning. You're on the canvas. You've been knocked out 50 times today, and you still think that you're up and winning. You've been bodied hundreds of times today. You're back from the dead. You might be a ghost right now.
Mr. Raj, right now, as we speak, there's so much moves that I'm making in my community. I'm going to put everyone talking online to shame. Because the black community has got Muslims in it. And everyone that loves their Muslim brothers, they would hold the same.
We're not, stop being emotional black now. We're not talking about this. We're talking about you condoning slavery. Stop deflecting. We are saying you are condoning slavery, but what you're doing is trying to use the emotional strings here to try and get people back onto your side. Stick to the point.
Raj, the thing is, I don't believe every Muslim believes the same thing as this.
Now, what he's doing, he's doing an emotional kind of blackmail to people. Oh, I'm helping. Yeah, do that. That's cool. But this is something totally different. Yeah, we are talking about slavery and your condoning of slavery. Stick to the topic.
I'm saying the whole black community thinks African serfdom is different from chattel slavery. We all believe that. Even if people don't believe in
what about Islamic slavery? We're not talking about chattel. Islamic. Is African different to Islamic?
What I'm saying is by Raj's standards, every single black person is promoting slavery. That's what I'm trying to show you.
If somebody is owned by, if somebody can't leave here, somebody's like, if someone hires someone, but they can't leave, I'll call that slavery. If you can't leave voluntarily, Raj, I'll call it slavery.
Raj, stop. Respect. What's the difference between the sub-Saharan slave trade, yeah, and the transatlantic slave trade? What's the difference? Go.
The sub-Saharan slave trade. No, the first thing I want to say is that Rod doesn't recognize any difference.
I'm not asking about Rod.
When did I say I don't recognize any difference? Why is it about me? Why are you getting so shocked? Talk about what he said. Ezra asked you a question, not me.
Yeah, I want to know what Respect thinks the difference is.
All right. What I'm doing first, though.
Can you tell me the difference between them, please?
Bro, Ezra, chill out, bro. Stop fighting for the
I'm
British.
just asking a question, fam.
This is not about the British. This is about slavery. Stop freaking diverting and doing the Sufi dance.
Tell us the
Just
difference
answer the
between the
question.
Islamic slave trade and the chattel slavery.
I ain't talking about no Islamic slavery. That's what you lot are obsessed with.
I said sub-Saharan slave trade. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I know what the sub-Saharan.
So what's the difference then? Tell me the difference.
Tell us the difference.
The sub-Saharan slave trade done by sub-Saharan Africans or other people.
No, Arabs. You don't know what sub-Saharan slave trade is. That's a problem. You don't know what it is.
All right, that's the real name for it, because everyone's been calling it Islamic slave trade and sub-Saharan slave trade, just like transatlantic slave
When
trade.
people are taken from the Sahara all the way into Arabia, castrated, and all of that stuff.
I'm breaking it down. Yeah, I'm just saying that that's the real word that you're using now. The sub-Saharan slave trade.
So tell us the difference.
By the Arabs, there was a high castration rate. Yeah, there was. One thing about one of the difference is that a lot of the racial implements came in later, because there was more white slaves in the 10th and 11th century than black slaves. Yeah, but yeah, it was highly oppressive, and between their Persian slaves and black slaves and white slaves and every kind of, because they had all kinds of slaves. Yeah, and
so you're just against racial slavery, not slavery in itself. Is that what you're trying to say?
I said sub-Saharan slave trade, where they march people over the Sahara into Arabia. Tell us the difference. Don't want to hear about nobody else. Sub-Saharan slave trade, go.
Yeah, bro, they marched black people, like you said. Yeah, they came in, they invaded through the north. Yeah, they tried to take certain parts of they tried to go into sub-Saharan Africa, and they couldn't beat the man them in battle. Yeah, so what they used to do is they used to try to capture people, and then they used to march them back to Saudi Arabia. I've seen 1-2 things about it, but on the actual history of the sub-Saharan slave trade ain't as strong, yeah, as the history on chattel slave trade, because it's more recent. Yeah, it's not. You learn about it in school.
You don't know the difference. Is that what you're saying?
For me, listen, Ezra. I hold a European last name. The reason why I hold a European last name, because I'm a direct victim of chattel slavery. My people are the.
What's the difference? I never asked you. What? Stop diverting, man. You actually, fam. You know that this is gonna be live.
Listen, Ezra. Are you listening? I condemn everything that man done. I've just been making the differentiation between the religion, like the people, what the people are believing, and the actual people that are doing it. That's all I've done.
Everybody has a difference between the and the Atlantic.
Ezra, to the point where the funny thing is, man, I'm saying I'm condoning slavery, but when Ezra says that other nations will be enslaved, because of what nations have done to, I don't believe in that. I believe everyone's going to get what's coming to them. Everyone's going to sow what they reap. Black, white, Asian. I don't believe that people are going to be enslaved by their nation. I believe people are going to get.
See what I'm saying? You see the diversion. For fuck's sake, Respect. You're talking about what I believe now, and I asked you a question. So what I believe is irrelevant to the fucking question, fam. Stop doing this.
Calling out to Muslim brothers. Calling out to Muslim brothers. Muslim brother drowning. Muslim brother drowning. Calling out for help.
I'm talking to him. I'm saying, do you know the difference or not? Stop telling me about what I believe and this one, that one. What's the difference in the treatment of the black people? What is the difference, man?
The main differences are, that you could work your way out of the slavery. So it might be 7 years, 10 years. With the European chattel slavery.
You have some proof for that. You have some proof for that.
1 minute, yeah? So people became commanders, warriors, like people up there, so a minute, yeah? That was one of the main differences. Another difference is
so one person become a general, so it's okay out of millions, and so you're cool with it.
It's like Uncle Ruckus, isn't it?
It's like Uncle Ruckus on steroids. Uncle Ruckus on steroids.
Use the religion to back that up. If it's
so one slave become a general, and one became free, and he's like, yes, slavery is great.
with Islam. Remember, he said it's nothing to do with Islam, so we can't use it as evidence.
It's all right if you're it's okay.
Did you see that? Did you see one minute? Did you see Ezra's question to me was, what are the differences? And he was asking me for time, and I didn't really understand the question. Too tough. What's the difference between the sub-Saharan and the chattel slavery? Yeah, he asked me for the differences. I pointed out one of the differences,
which was a lie. Which was a lie.
1 minute. I pointed out one of the differences. Another one is that, like you see in the chattel slavery, your child was predicted to be enslaved. Yeah, and the last thing that was, and another thing that was, there's loads of differences. Because one thing, the Arabs was castrating a hella man them, but when you used to run away from the American Europeans, they used to castrate man as well. So like they both castrated. The Arabs probably castrated more.
What's worse? Yeah, being castrated.
As we've seen of recent, certain Arabs have got a fascination with penises, isn't it? So, like, certain man, like, I can't lie, put a bad thing on this, and even Asians, like, Rod, they got a mad thing with penises and asses. They love all the.
No, I would never let you get fingered, man. I told you I'd never let you get fingered. So, how am I against you getting? I'm saying I won't let you get fingered. I'm not condoning fingering you. I'm saying I wouldn't let Waleed finger you.
I hear you.
Yeah, so what? I'm not condoning. I'm saying I wouldn't let. If he grabbed you and started beating you, and then pulled down your trousers and start putting his finger in your butt, I wouldn't allow it. I would stop him. I'd call the police.
Singing shit to avoid the answers. That's what he's doing.
I will not let him get fingered. I'll tell you that straight now. It's a serious thing. I would never let you get fingered, Fingerspect. Never.
Yo, I'm gone anyway. You know, man, big up yourself. Yeah.
My main thing is the main thing I brought up was the Quran verse.
Just like and subscribe, all of that. Don't know.
Like the main thing I brought up today was a Quran verse where the only commandment.
Yeah, you say it's got nothing to do with Islam. So why are you bringing up? Why are you bringing that up to defend the slavery going on over there if it's nothing to do with it?
But I think it was the solution to what the Arabs were doing. So the only commandment was to free slaves. That's the only thing I've defended today. The verse in the Quran where it says, "Look after the orphans, always keep your word, and free slaves."
I think I might have been a bit confused. I was saying, I might have got confused. 1 minute. So are you saying, okay, all right, so let me get this straight. You're saying that you feel that the Islamic slave trade, they were there to free the slaves. So you're against slavery, though. You would say actually capturing slaves and having slaves is evil and barbaric.
Yeah, I'd say it's all bad, yeah. Like it's bad for someone to be captured, but I'd say in the sense of looking at history from a realistic point of view, not a lovey-dovey point of view, and looking at the whole world at that time, the whole world was going to war and they was capturing people like everywhere. There was nowhere on the planet where this was not happening. So in consideration to looking at it like from those realistic spectacles, even Kunta Kinte, them man done stuff that I wouldn't do today. A lot of leaders from 1,500 years ago done stuff that a lot of us wouldn't do today. But when we
if the Brits come in and they use the Islamic version of slavery, would you have been okay with it then?
I believe in the sub-Saharan slave trade, which is
I'm saying that if the Brits went into Africa in 4 or 5, but instead of using a translator, you would have been okay with the Islamic version. You actually buy the Quran, you'd be okay with that particular form of slavery.
Well, the Brits were done. The reason why we got a problem with the Brits is because they invaded the land. That's the first thing. Yeah. But the Brits came, and they saw slavery, us slaving each other, and they put a rule to free all the slaves. I would love that.
You would love it.
Yeah, if they said to free all the slaves, if the Brits came and followed the Quran is to free the slaves, I would love it. I would love it if the Muslims done it. You understand? But there's certain Arabs that haven't done it. But I would love it.
Oh, so let me just clarify. You would love the Arabs to come in if they used the Islamic version of slavery. You would love it for your people.
What I'm saying is, I would love anyone who comes into a country and frees slaves, like the Quran.
No, but they have to, in order to free you, they've got to enslave you first.
No. You might become the leader of a country.
No. But let's just go back. In order to free you. Hold on, let me just ask you a question. In order to free someone, do you have to enslave them first?
Depends. In a war.
No. If you in order to free someone, do you have to first capture them?
Right, tell me what somewhere 1,500.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a simple question. In order to free someone, do you have to first capture them?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So first of all, that you'd have to make someone into a slave first, correct?
Yeah, because
Then you would have to then you can free them.
a lot of people would say that they would kill them, but we can't kill them. You know what I'm saying?
We can't kill them. What do you mean we can't kill them? Are you Muslim now?
Like, no, fam, I'm not even talking about Islam. I'm talking about serfdom. I'm talking about Shaka Zulu. That's what I'm saying. Islam. You lot keep on running to Islam like James Goddard did the other day.
No, because you are claiming that there's a form of slavery.
I've just said if all Muslims came and and this is what they done, Raj. Follow Quran 2177. They thought that righteousness was not turning their faces towards the east or the west, but those who believe in God, that give money cheerfully to the relatives, the orphans, the needy, the traveling alien, the beggars, and to free the slaves. Yeah, if every Muslim came and followed that, that would be beautiful. That's what I would.
You have to enslave them first, don't you?
But that's what I'm saying. If you look
are you against slavery though? Let me ask you first. Are you against slavery?
Raj, there's prisoners.
Are you against slavery? Yes or no?
There's prisoners of war, and
are you against slavery? Yes or no?
What would you do, Raj? 1 minute. Let me ask you a question. What would you do with prisoners of war?
Well, if I was in a war, yeah, and we had prisoners of war, females and children and the men folk, I would capture them first, and once the war is over, I would de-arm them, yeah, and I would try to, I would have to kind of like maybe, I don't know, watch over them for a bit, but I wouldn't have them as slaves. I would let them go back to their land, and I would have to somehow try and monitor them until they, I feel like they are no longer a threat. But I wouldn't own them. I would just have to try and make sure that they don't ever become militaristic. So one way is to take away a lot of their kind of like weaponry and stuff like that, and to kind of control what's going on. I wouldn't suddenly enslave them and have them as slaves. No, I wouldn't. So let's go back. So are you against slavery? Yes or no?
1 minute. So you disagree with the police force right now in prisons?
I don't know. When it comes to the prison systems, especially in America, I think the prison system in America and the police are like a military police. I said that the other day. I said the American system of policing is like cops are I've only said cops are the ops of the Americans. So I disagree with them strongly. I think the American system of police is a disgrace.
I'm saying, but you agree with prisons, right?
I agree with prisons for people that have committed a crime.
Okay, so that means you agree with a form of slavery?
No. This is, to me, it's not slavery because that person has committed a crime and will be released. So if someone murdered someone and then they put in prison for life, are they a slave or are they a criminal in prison?
Yeah, well, that's what it was. Someone murdered someone, yeah, and then man captured them. That was what it was for 1,500 years ago. Someone came to our land, they murdered someone, we captured them, and they.
So let's go back. I'm talking about during peacetime. If there's no war going on, if someone kills someone on the road, like if you're walking on the road and you shoot someone in the head, and then you're put into you're jailed for it, that for me is what should happen, because you don't want to have people walking around killing people. Now, during war, the whole point of a war is to kill people, is it not?
Well, not for me personally. It's to find.
So what do you do? Give them flowers? What do you do during the war?
Find peace.
Oh, so during the war, you're going to stand there going, "Oh, here's a flower. I want to hug you."
No.
And they run into you with a freaking shotgun or something.
You that will get taken out, because you would have taken away their guns, let them go, and we would have came back and headshotted you. We made sure we got you the next time. Yeah, so it's you that wouldn't have been able to actually do nothing. Your solution, yeah, without a prison system, which is what your system has, a prison system, which is prisons for profit. So it's modern day slavery. So you do.
No, it's not modern day slavery. It's an unjust system, but it's not slavery.
You agree with slavery, but it's just you only agree with it when it's white masters doing it to black people.
Oh my God! You can't. Look, let me say something.
Yeah, no, that's the only reason why you agree with it. If it was Sikh people or your own people being arrested at the rate and being made money off, because that's what it is. Man, are working.
If my people were say Sikhs here, like the 3 Sikh guys that got killed and the 2 Sikh guys that murdered them in 7 Kings, I'm glad they're in prison. You get that, don't you?
No, but I'm
happy they were captured, and I'm happy they're going to go down for life. Oh, big up Queen Divine. The real queen here, man.
In the
real queen in the house.
Wicked, you know. You know how long you don't have me in this back chat?
Yeah, I know. I was in the back chat for 2 hours. 2 hours. How dare you, Veli? How dare you, Veli?
Yo,
Velly's violating.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that, man. You should let the females in, man.
Ras, it's you. I come. Ras, what you doing?
Get him, get him.
Ras, what are you doing, bro? Come on, man, fix up. What are you doing?
What are you talking about?
Do you not hear how you crazy you sound? What are you doing?
I don't, like, you see, sis, there's people with an agenda and there's people that don't have an agenda. See, the people that don't have an agenda, they're going to read between the lines and understand exactly what I'm saying. People that have an agenda that don't really like me already, yeah, I haven't even looked at the chat once, yeah, but I know.
Because I've been telling you from the bloody chat to get off the panel. That's what I've been trying to tell you from the chat. What are you doing?
No, I don't.
Where's that music? You know, the violin music.
Yeah, I'm listening. For me, speaking corner is not about winning or losing debates, you know. It's about speaking the truth the best you know it, you know. But if you have demons and devils trying to misrepresent what you're saying, that's okay, because people know that these people are not credible. Those who know that these people's tactics and that they try to misrepresent everything man's saying. Anyone who knows what I'm saying knows what I'm saying. So it's like I don't really care about what Jupiter and Reggie and Raj want to try to incite. You get me? I know that I'm one of the only men that have actually put my resources and my mouth where my black people are being
like I said, if I beat my wife, but I go to a protest.
What
does Siki say about slaves?
Hold on a minute. If I beat my wife, I go to a protest about wife beating.
You've been talking for a long time.
Why are you attacking Respect? Why is everyone going after Respect?
Go, leave them.
Hello.
Sorry.
I've got this. Let me speak.
I'm saying.
All right, Ras, I'm talking. Me and you talking. Forget everybody else right now. Then we're not interested in them. Tell me very clear. No, let's just be very clear, because I don't think you understand how crazy you're sounding right now. Yes, so let me be very clear. I'm going to ask you direct questions, and I want you to answer them directly without me interrupting or nothing. Yeah. Cool. First question is this. Yeah. What do you feel about slavery? What is your sentiments on slavery?
I bun the chattel slavery and the sub-Saharan slave trade for the oppression done to my people, and I don't believe that my people should ever do that oppression to other people. I believe that serfdom is different from chattel slavery, and I believe that all of the different slaveries, whether it was Roman slavery, whether it was Raj's people doing their Sikhism slavery, everywhere on the planet at that time, I know, had this system. So I'll just look at it through that realistic element, and then man looks at the different systems. So I can differentiate that African serfdom is different from chattel slavery. That's my first point of contention. Yeah, I think that the sub-Saharan slave trade, and I don't really attach a religion to it. I just attach wicked people, because the Arabs was practicing slavery before they became Muslim. Yeah, so like they was already doing the deal. So I put it upon them man there that had that mindset that before they even picked up the religion, they was doing it. And for the first time, they got a commandment to free up the people then. If they listen to that or they didn't listen to that, that's going to be the judgment for them unto the Most High. You get me? But I bun.
Okay, good. Glad you cleared that up.
I bun the chattel slave trade with big fire, red fire, hot like lava. But one of the main reasons
fire for bun, I like.
Yeah. But I already said I put a headshot in them man in Libya's head. That's. But like, and when I'm saying that, I'm not lying. Like if I could, like that's what I want to do to man that are capturing my brothers and sisters. Like, and that's the thing, yeah. We've got people that really don't care about black people, and they've showed it so many times, and they seem to be the most vocal right now, yeah, when it comes to trying to call man a sellout. Are you mad? Yeah, because at the end of the day, anyone who knows me knows when it came to the Libyan slave trade, show me someone that's done more in it. Fuck talking, show me someone that's done more in it. Like, except for the gang when we rolled out. You know what I'm saying? My tribe, all of them people there 3 times, lock off the road. Fed said they was going to arrest us. Man didn't care. Man said, we're going to stop the traffic until people know about the trafficking. Yeah? Steph London, all of them people there shared out the post. Yeah, the awareness about what was going on with the brothers and sisters. Muslims turned up, different kinds of Muslims. One Muslim brother who has links to the people on the ground. Yeah, the Muslim organizations on the ground fighting against the wicked man. Yeah, and then an ex-Muslim brother, I'm not going to say his name right now, but one of them brothers who has a lot of reach, and he put a video out about it and condemned it wholeheartedly. I didn't see the people that are talking the most on the panel about Libyan slave trade now. They don't give a fuck about black people, and that's what pisses me off. They're using our pain as a political ploy, and they've got their own agenda, and everyone knows their own.
Okay, but can we not interrupt him, please? You lot have been talking for a long time. Let him talk.
Go on, lady D. Go through, dog, sis.
Yeah, I can't say that, bro. Like, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, I know exactly what you're trying to say, but how it's coming across, it doesn't sound right. Hence why I want you to answer the questions and give your answers without being interrupted. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So,
the reason why it's not coming across is because of the debate tactic of asking me a question and then when I'm answering, cutting me and then saying what it is that man trying to say. I'm saying. And then boom.
Yeah, I hear that. What I'm saying that even I was in the thing saying, "Oh my God, thank God I'm not on that panel because I would have done your dance if I heard some of the stuff coming out of your mouth." But I understand what you're trying to say. So, what your issue is this? Yeah, you don't like it when people are saying the Arab slave or the Muslim slave trade or the Arab. You want it to be called what it's actually called, which is the sub-Saharan slave trade.
Yeah, I believe that there's some people with an agenda. Yeah, and like for example, yeah. The Muslim grooming gangs thing, yeah, like really and truly, that's a lot of Pakistani people. If anything, if you want to put it,
I've been saying that for about 6 months, 7 months now. Yeah,
there's people that don't like Islam and they're part of a certain cult. Yeah, they for a long time they attached Muslim to the grooming gangs thing. Yeah, and I'm saying that in the same way, I believe that a lot of people that don't like to call it the Christian slave trade. If someone was calling it the Christian slave trade, then call it the Islamic slave trade, innit? But I haven't met a lot of people that call the European one a Christian slave trade. But there seem to be a lot of people that like to shroud this thing up in Islam, you know what I'm saying? And these people done some heinous acts, some wicked acts. They was castrating the man them and all of that.
Sorry to interrupt you, Bass. One second. I see everyone in the chat's going wild. Yeah. They say, lady, please stop, sis. It's not a case of me having to stop. It's a case of he needs to clear up what he's saying because what is happening is from the chat, it's sounding fucking crazy. So now that I'm up here, we've got some order. Let him speak and tell you how he really feels. Because right about now, with all these 20 million questions coming, he just acting like he's co-signing slavery. And ain't no one trying to co-sign that shit. Ras, are you trying to co-sign slavery?
Definitely not. And I think anyone who knows that. But people try to misrepresent what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, sis, when we look at history, yeah, and we look at Africa, let's look at Africa, sis. Like, because people like to bring Islam into the thing. Where it's not even thing. Only thing I believe about Islam is it's a commandment to free people, and I believe that was used as the reason why slavery was abolished in many places in Africa. Yeah, that's my belief about Islam. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not going off. Everyone's got their own different belief, and then people want to put what they believe the thing is to me. No, I believe that people are corrupted though. Even Christianity. I believe Christianity, the core tenet of it is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So you could never be a Christian and enslave other people in the way that they done chattel slavery. You know what I'm saying? How could you? You're going against the main tenet. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe in no oppression of no one, no matter what their religion, race, or nothing is. But I could say historically, black people haven't really been the main people oppressing other people. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. Okay, so this is what I wanted to ask you because they're saying to me in the chat, yeah, they're saying that basically you basically said that how the transatlantic slave trade was okay as long as it was Muslims. Did you say that?
No, I didn't say that.
Clear up what you actually said, please.
Yeah, I actually didn't use Islam. If people rewind it, I used Irish servitude. Yeah, and what I was saying is Irish servitude. Yeah, because I'm trying to show Rod that there's different forms of serfdom in it. Because he's saying every time when a man can't leave. That is wrong, but I'm saying that any time when a man's come to kill you, or if someone tried to kill someone in this country, they have to go to jail, and they can't leave, sis. And the system's making money off them while they're in jail. So that's a form of slavery, like, and it's the same form that the people them had back in the day, where if you come and done a crime, you could be captured, and you have to hold it down. It's the same thing. There's no difference to it. So man are telling me they don't agree with slavery, but they agree with prisons, like, and rehabilitation. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying that. Even,
but Raz, I know you're not going to try to. I know you're not going to try to compare being in jail,
slavery to prison, bro. You go to prison for committing an act, and the prison is a punishment. Slavery gets snatched up, bro. It's a false equivalence. Behave yourself.
Yo, Ultra. The only time I've said a man can get captured is if he tries to come and kill you, Ultra. Kill you and kill your family. Then yes, man will capture you. Back then, when Kunta Kinte was living, I would have captured you if you come to my village and tried to come and kill me and my family, fam. Because that was the norm of 1,500 years ago in Africa. You couldn't just come and try to kill man's family and then walk away. What am I gonna do? Let you walk away and try to kill man again? What are you gonna do, Ultra? You're 1,500 years ago. You're with Shaka Zulu in there, man. There's a next city. They're coming to kill you, your lovely family. Come on, bro. You're gonna do exactly the same thing. You're gonna kill them all. That's the only two choices you've got. You can do the prison rehabilitation thing, or but yeah, ban slavery, ban the slave master. I ban prisons. You know where?
Big up, respect. Big up, respect.
I believe.
Salam alaikum, respect.
Salam. But
big up, respect.
I believe.
Hold on. Is that Bullets Gotti? Because that better not be, please.
No, this year.
Oh, okay.
I believe that a lot of I believe that there's a lot of innocent people that even the Black Panther Party. You know what I'm saying? A lot of innocent people go to jail, and the thing is, when you look at this system where a lot of innocent people go to jail, they're disproportionately targeted. Yeah, that's why I can't agree with none of them, because the same thing was happening. Even if there's a rules, you know what I'm saying? The reason why I've made it very clear that freeing the slave for me is the only commandment that I acknowledge. I don't acknowledge anything else. From it says that, and that's a commandment to be righteous. That's what I'm acknowledging. For like Hadith ain't gonna stamp that for me personally, innit? For a next man, it might, you know what I'm saying? But for me, that's gonna be the core principle. So I'm more talking from a sense of when people like Malcolm X used Islam to try and free up the people then that was enslaved. When people on the African continent, whether it was Yahya Jammeh and them man there, and the man them who fought against the slave master in Africa, yeah, the Muslims who read the Quran, and from their mentality, this book was telling them to free up the man there. That's what the whole of Malcolm X and a lot of Black Muslims in America believe. Like, I just see it through their perspectives rather than through some either Islamophobe one, or someone who doesn't know anything about Islam, or even someone who sympathizes for the sub-Saharan slave trade. I don't sympathize for no oppression, you know, and I don't make excuses for oppressing other people. So I would never say, people are going to be enslaved by their nations or nothing like that. I think everyone's going to get what's coming back to them. The life you live today, if you're honest and true, you get me, then honesty and truth must come back to you. But if you're lying...
Okay, but bro, one second, because Ketro just wrote a good comment. He just wrote, Arab and Muslim conquest and trading was the source of 99% of the slaves, not a primitive justice system. So basically, bro, what he's saying is that's why you cannot compare imprisonment to slavery. And not only that, heinous things happened within slavery. You and I both know this. We know women were raped, children were stolen, resold, families were broke up, people lost all kinds of shit. Both slaveries were disgusting. One, you lost your whole entire identity. The other one, men were castrated, men were
all types of slavery
belittled.
Identical, Lady Divine.
Hell no. There's differences. They're all different, but they're all heinous. That's the problem. They're all out of pocket.
So you're saying African serfdom was heinous?
Pardon?
It was African serfdom heinous, like you see with Shaka Zulu and them.
What's that got to do with Islam?
Who's talking about Islam, though?
No.
How did Islam got brought into this?
I don't know.
We're talking about slavery.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But anyway, but what I'm saying is this, bro, just on the subject of slavery, stick on to that, yeah?
Well, that's the whole point of this whole discussion. It's Islam.
No. My people are upset, not because of Islam. No. You got this wrong. You got this wrong. My people are not upset.
Common narrative of driving black people away from Islam.
Hold on. Let me explain it to you. My people are not upset because of Islam. My people are upset because Respect at the time seemed like he was very much co-signing one slavery over the other. And that's why my people are upset. The people that actually went for
Respect was being bullied.
No. They heard in the corner
and
he was forced to say something that sounded odd.
No. I'm talking to my brother right now, innit? He can talk for himself. I don't really need a second mouthpiece.
I'm gonna bring something to the table, yeah, because
go on, Ras.
Like 1 minute. Belly, get ready to share my screen because this should collapse it for some people. Because what I'm trying to say ain't really something that where's this thing? Here it is. All right. How am I gonna get this to myself? All right. Give me 2 seconds. But yeah. Let's talk while I'm doing it still. But yeah, I've got a clip that I'm gonna bring forward to get me.
And the amount of time this topic's being discussed, all these questions have been answered so many times. Everyone knows the answers to them. But the fact that they're asking the same questions tonight, it proves that there's an agenda behind it. It's trying to make Respect feel.
I'll ban all of that. No. Stop the no.
Oh, shut up. That's what they're trying to make it feel like. It's like a sellout.
Put the pom-poms down. We're not doing that foolishness. Put the pom-poms down. Put the lipstick down, the pom-poms,
you shouldn't be treating one person like that. You got 10, 20 people attacking them.
When I get treated like that, yeah, by like 10 people on each channel, it's not bullying then, is it?
Don't say that.
When I'm being shouted out and all that kind of stuff, when I'm on a panel with 10 people or 8 people shouting at me, is that bullying? Yes or no, reactionary? When I'm on Fraz's channel and there's 10 people shouting at me, when I'm on Dan's, if he can't cut the heat, yeah, you don't need to hide behind a reactionary skirt, man. Be a man, yeah, and freaking well face up to your bullshit.
I'm talking to Lady Divine right now.
No, reactionary, stop trying to come here, you're holding his hand like you're his boyfriend or something. Shut your mouth and stay in your lane.
Oh, shut up, man, Rod. You don't get involved, fam. Just let me in.
I will get involved. I will get involved because he's trying to say we're bullying you. If you can't take the heat,
allow it.
If you can't take the heat, then don't come here.
Deflection, Raj, don't fall for it. That was part of the deflection. This is what the cheerleaders do. So you got to just pay them no mind. I'm talking to Ras, innit?
It was the Beaters laughing. The Beaters laughing. She's like bullied.
No, reactionary.
The bully getting bullied. Oh, what a funny scenario.
Like me like that, so he's definitely not a cheerleader. Still, me and him had an argument last time we spoke.
No, I'm saying this, innit? When I'm talking to you directly, I don't want to hear no mouthpiece because I know that for a fact that you're a big Ras man and you can speak for yourself. I don't need no side chicks or no pom-poms, no lipstick or nothing into talking for you. Like, you don't need it. So that's what I'm saying. So my thing is this, Ras, yeah? Obviously, we are the people, the descendants of these slaveries, yeah?
Yeah.
What do you feel about slavery today? Forget the religion part. What do you feel about the entire slavery that happened to your ancestors from way back when? How do you feel about that today?
I find every oppression against my ancestors. People like ask me these questions because of the way I live. I'm being judged by people that won't go out there and fight for their people. They just chat shit online. Half of them ain't even from man's community. Are you mad? Do you know the life I live? Do you know the life I'm going to live for the next 10 years? Do you think I'm going to be in Speaker's Corner like Raj? Do you know the moves that a man's making in the background? Are you mad? Like, it's long. No one can't call me a sellout because actions speak louder than words. That's it. Like, there's people out there that don't like me. So they're going to try to twist anything I'm saying and go with what the pigeon's saying because they got their own personal agenda. And then there's people that take time and try to understand what people are saying. I think me having that element, especially because I've got it for everyone. That's the thing. I'll try to understand what a Sikh's saying. I'll try to understand what a Christian's saying. But if I try to understand what a Muslim's saying, it's like, wow, respect's rare. It's, oh, wagwan. And I'm like, yo, I do this across the board. Like, I talk to the people them and try to understand how a lot of people on the outside, I don't know where it is. You know what I'm saying? But people have to put it into perspective.
No. This is not about me. This is not about religion. It's about you condoning some form of slavery. What we're saying is that slavery is wrong. What you're doing is Islamophobia. Oh, Raj is for grooming. Raj is against grooming. Prison systems. This. What we're saying, owning another person, yeah, is wrong. Simple.
No, Raj.
You are saying that there's some forms that is okay because you believe in the Islamic version being some more just version of slavery. That's what we're saying to you.
Fam, when we come to African serfdom and chattel slavery, my whole community makes a distinction. Leave the Arabs out of it. My whole community makes a distinction. So already you're trumped. You can't call man a sellout because we make a distinction.
Well, your people are wrong as well then.
You don't see African serfdom.
Well, then your people is wrong as well. Then, because serfdom as well. If you can't leave, if you're working for someone but you can't leave, yeah, without there being repercussions physically or whatever, you're a slave. You're not a serfdom. You're not a servant. Even servants that work for the Queen
Raj, what's
can
the
leave their job.
What's the acceptable alternative?
Yo, I don't know if you lot can hear this. Yeah. Listen. Listen to this. Lady D, this is Booker T. Coleman, isn't it? I think his name's Kaba Kameni right now.
I'm hearing, I'm listening.
I heard him say it. But Dry Bones, I want to go back to something that we all have to understand. Africans did not have slaves. They had servants. They always viewed whoever was in service to them as human beings. They could buy themselves out of that servitude. The children that they created were born free. There was no concept of an institutionalized legal system that because of the complexion of your skin or your pigmentation, you were counted with cows and sheep. Africans did not do that. Even the Afrabs, I call them Afrabs because to be an Arab, you got to be black. But
yeah, that's respect.
Not have that institutionalized enslavement of a people that dehumanized. There's a different situation. Well,
that's basically what man's been saying. Yeah, but there's a whole.
Check this out. Respect. One second. Let me say something.
Hold on. Slavery is wrong. Yeah, slavery is wrong. Full stop. I don't care if you believe that person here can be freed. That person's children are not slaves.
Check this out.
The point is slavery is wrong.
Yeah, I can play it again if you.
Al Saud.
With all the black people in the chat here.
When George Bush was president, the Saudi ambassador to the United States, he was the ambassador. His mother was a slave.
And
so what it shows you is that he was able, because his mother was a slave, his father wasn't. He was born as a free man. He became the ambassador of his country to the United States.
And so one person becomes your logic. If a million people are enslaved,
he flies around in
but two of them become generals or somebody of higher quarters. The other million or whatever are still going to be slaves.
Yeah, but
because one or two people make it out. Just because one or two people make it out, it doesn't mean it's
somebody born in that situation is born as a free person. They're born free.
Who cares? But the parent was still a slave. Yeah, but I'm saying the parent was still a slave.
The term slavery is incorrect. It doesn't apply.
1 minute. So you're saying that because the child was not a slave, that it's then okay that the parent was a slave. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
no, don't try and save him. You're saying that because the child is now free, that it's okay that the parent is still enslaved. Because the parent is still a slave.
It's
right. You have to have context.
Is slave?
No. Stop this foolishness now. Listen, I'm going to talk now.
What is the alternative?
The alternative
what's the acceptable alternative to that situation?
I am a descendant of the slaves that you're talking about, yeah?
No, you're not.
I am a descendant of the slaves you're talking about.
No, you're not.
So what I'm telling you is this. You're not going to try to...
Are you from the West Indies?
Slavery seem good to me and my people, you know? You're not. It's
from the West Indies.
It's just not working.
Are you from the West Indies?
We
are you a descendant from European Christian slavery?
And you are never going to justify slavery on any way, shape, or form.
You cannot compare. You cannot compare anything from Christianity to Islam.
It's not happening.
It cannot be compared.
It's not happening.
The wrong terminology is being used. It's not the right word. Slavery is not the word.
So 1 minute reaction and tell Rod to get me as well.
Yeah, no one's telling me to shut up. Only Queen Lady Divine can tell me to shut up. Nobody else. Tell me to shut up, Lady Divine.
Let Lady Divine say it.
No, I'll listen to Queen Lady.
Did you hear Booker T, or you want to hear it one more time to kind of...
Play it one more time, please. Yeah.
Unless I heard him say it. But Dry Bones, I want to go back to something that we all have to understand. Africans did not have slaves. They had servants. They always viewed whoever was in service to them as human beings. They could buy themselves out of that servitude. The children that they created were born free. There was no constitutional system that because of the complexion of your skin or counted with cows and sheep. Africans did not do that. Even the Afrabs, I call them Afrabs because to be an Arab, you got to be black. But even the Afrabs did not have that institutionalized enslavement of a people that dehumanized them. There's a different situation.
Well, all right, so reactionary, can non-Muslims, could Muslims enslave fellow Muslims?
The answer to the question is hell no.
Can Muslims enslave fellow Muslims? Yes or no?
The Somalis being enslaved.
No. We actually, under Islam, under Islamic law, yeah, not what's going on in the world. Can Muslims enslave another Muslim under Islam?
Muslims cannot.
No, yes or no. I'm asking reactionary. Can Muslims? Don't stop stopping. Can Muslims enslave other Muslims under Islam? Reactionary.
Oh, now he doesn't want to speak, but when he wasn't spoken to, he
Okay.
was speak then.
All right, so let me say something. Let me say something again. All right, so let me finish. Then you can debunk me afterwards. Let me say it. Then you can debunk me afterwards. Let me say it. Then you can debunk me. Let me say it. Lady Divine, can I just say one thing here so you can understand what I'm going to say, please?
All right, let him just finish, Russ.
Let me just finish here. What I'm going to expose here. Let me finish. Don't get triggered. Lady Divine said, "Let me speak." So listen to your queen. Yeah, listen to your queen. Listen to Queen Divine. Yeah.
Respect, so, Raj. Let Raj talk.
All right, so let me finish, and I will let him talk here once I've said my piece. So the thing is here, under the transatlantic slave trade, you could not.
Like, oh shit, that man's making sense. And then
then say your piece, because you're triggered. Then I'll speak after you, and don't interrupt me.
All right, cool. I'm saying that he clocks that. Obviously, Booker T. Coleman's a big historian. He's saying exactly what I'm saying. You get me? Or in the African serfdom is different from chattel slavery, and then obviously he differentiates the Afro-Arabs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking into that history. I'm looking into some of that that knowledge there, which a lot of people might not even be privy to. But a lot of but yeah. So what I'm saying is, I'll let Raj say his thing. I've got to play it one more time because I want to speak to Lady D about what he said. That's what I want. Right, so I want to have contention.
He basically said that there's rules for slaves.
All right, so let me just finish what I'm going to say. Please don't interrupt. Now, what I'm going to show you here is that in the transatlantic slave trade, they had a certain rule that if you're an Englishman, you probably couldn't enslave another Englishman. They had a racial hierarchy that if you're English, you can't enslave another Englishman, but other people that are not from their stock could be enslaved. That was a form of supremacy, racial supremacy. But you then have an Islamic supremacy where Muslims cannot enslave fellow Muslims, but all other people that are kuffars can be enslaved. So that is another form of supremacy, not based on race, but based on religion. So both of them, although one of them is definitely worse when it comes to the way they treated their slaves, which is a transatlantic slave trade, the other is still terrible and evil. Now, this is a problem with you, Respect. You are doing the Sufi dance like I've never seen anyone doing the Sufi dance apart from Amaraz. Just face it. You are condoning some form of slavery. Whether it's a worse than
a lecture here, man. What's going on, right? Just make your point.
Stop getting triggered. Stop trying to defend your little boyfriend. So whether it's about
yeah, but you're taking forever. Come on,
shut your mouth, reactionary. Whether it's because you are now Muslim, whether it's because you're a Muslim or not, shut your mouth. You're not on the goddamn server.
You had your chance to speak before. He asked you the question before and you blanked him.
Let me just speak, because you're actually prolonging this shit, even though I was going to finish in 10 seconds.
Keep going, come on. Yeah, we're falling asleep.
I'm not even talking until you stop talking. Yeah? So I can just talk all day if you want me to. Let me finish. So what it is with you here is you are now defending something that's indefensible. The way the Islamic slave trade works is that they will capture non-Muslims, and non-Muslims can be slaves. The same way the Brits captured non-Brits or white people and said they could be slaves because they're lower than them. These people that were enslaving people under the Islamic slave trade believed the kuffars were lower than cattle, so they could be enslaved. What is the difference?
Well, you've gone way off the topic.
No, I've not got. I'm not.
Ras, he wants to know what is the difference between the sub-Saharan slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade. That's what he's asking.
In terms of enslaving people, one's according to religion, and one is according to race.
Yeah, one can change his skin color. One can change.
I said Ras. I'm talking to Ras, and I said Ras. So unless your name's Ras, I don't know why you're answering on his behalf.
They're black Muslims. What are you talking about? In the sub-Saharan slave trade, fam? Are you mad?
Oh, go. Sorry, apologies. Go ahead, Respect.
Yeah, that man wasn't following no rules. They weren't following the rules of engagement.
No, let me answer Queen Divine's question.
Saying the people that was involved in the sub-Saharan slave trade was enslaving Muslims as well, just like the Libyan people that are going against the rules of Islam are doing the same thing right now in Libya. And that's why I hit the rose rod, and I didn't talk about it online to get one up with black people that I don't really care about. I actually done something about it. So
so you hit the road, but it's pointless because it's like me going to a domestic violence rally but agreeing beating my wife. Like imagine me beating my wife and I go to a domestic violence rally. The way you're doing it, you're against slavery. You're going to a slavery march. You're going to a slavery march.
You interrupted him.
Condone something.
You didn't like being interrupted, but you're interrupted. That's not fair.
He said my name, so yeah, I was saying.
I just played Booker T. Coleman, whether it's Marcus Garvey, whether it's Malcolm X, no matter which one you're talking about, yeah, of the different religions and different mindsets of people that came before us that was revolutionaries, we differentiate between African serfdom and chattel slavery. Every single scholar from Malcolm X, all of them to Marcus Garvey, all of them down. Don't get it twisted. We've definitely got critiques for the
Arabs. So do I. The transatlantic slave trade is one of the worst crimes committed against human beings. But it doesn't mean the Islamic slave trade is good. Both of them are bad. One's just worse.
The remnants of the Arab.
Why do you call it Islamic slave trade?
I know, because he's doing it deliberately, like he done with Muslim grooming gangs for months.
Right.
But anyway, it's a
quick question, Raz. Quick question, Raz.
I don't understand. I don't think people understand.
No. I'm understanding, but I just want you to be very clear in what you're putting out there to the public. Because guess what, your people are not happy right now. I'm telling you that. Like, I'm just keeping it real.
Can you hear? What's your problem?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, all right, this is the problem I got with it. So every year, as you know, yeah, every August we do this march, yeah, and we do this march all the way to Parliament, back, all the way to Brixton, back, all of that, yeah. Yeah. Why don't we do the exact same thing when it comes to the sub-Saharan slave trade? Why are we not campaigning for that?
One, there's not as much knowledge of it. Two, there's not the actual victims of the sub-Saharan slave trade are not really here today. It was 1,500 years ago. Like if there was
stop. Let's not mention Libya right now. Stop.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Libya is that's what I'm saying. It's a nuanced situation that came out of decolonization. It wasn't just something that's been going on in Libya normal. So Libya, and like I said, when we rolled out for Libya. That's all man can do. Man can't talk online and try to get one up on Muslims and try to use Libya. That's stupid, bro. My people are actually going through pain, and it's Muslims that are going through the pain. So I'll side with my Somali brother against the oppressor, whoever's selling him or whoever's buying him. I'm siding with the oppressed black people. Some of them are Muslims, some of them ain't.
Okay, but here my problem is that at no point in time, hold on. Before you go too far, at no point in time did you hear me use the word Muslim. Not one point in time. I specifically said the sub-Saharan slavery and the transatlantic one. Then I went on to say, why is it we do a march for one and not the other when both of them are still, literally are still got victims to this day. To this day, both of them.
You said we do a march, but I'm saying the only person that I know that actually done 3 marches is manself. Man does a reparation march once a month. We done 3, and I done a march in Gambia as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I've done marches for this thing. Maybe more people should start caring, like Raj and Jupiter and all of these people that care so much about our Somali brothers that they think are backward barbarians being enslaved in Libya. It's fucked. 1 minute they'll say calling Somalis backward barbarians.
Did I say they're backward barbarians, or did somebody else say it?
1 minute they're saying.
No, clarify first. Did I say it or did someone else say it?
Listen to this.
No, clarify, because you're making it as if I said it, yeah. Did I say it on Jupiter say it, or did someone else say it?
I'm talking to Lady D.
No, clarify first, because you're putting my name into it. Did me and Jupiter say it, or did somebody else say it?
No, you defended the fact that it wasn't.
No. I said what you said was wrong, yeah, and could be racist as well. So now what?
Oh, so Tommy Robinson's a racist now. Thanks.
I believe people can say racist stuff and not necessarily be racist.
Yes. Anyway, Lady D, the funny thing is...
Are you going to take that back then? That we did not say that. It was Tommy Robinson that said it.
All right. Yeah, your leader.
Hey, stop lying and into Kia, man.
All right. Lady D, yeah?
I'm listening.
This is the hypocrisy, yeah? This is the hypocrisy. When when the Tommy thing first came out, everyone knows, everyone was saying, give us a statement that he's made that's racist, and we'll condemn him as a racist. Yeah, because we had all the organizational things. They said one statement. Yeah, we've got plenty of statements. One of them is calling Somalis backward barbarians. Just up the road, a little Somali girl was just drowned just the other day. Yeah, and it's come out that she was actually forced to get into the river. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm gonna do the show on. You know what I'm saying, tonight, because that's something important. I'm not trying to get one up on no one. Yeah, it's just about the sister's story being told, car. Like,
was it?
Yeah.
Was it because the newspapers reported that the kids, that's why no charges are being pressed, because the kids were playing about and kids just pushed each other in, and this kid drowned.
You're cutting out, Ras. You're cutting out.
I've seen something that says differently still. So I'm gonna bring.
I bet you know, because if you, I bet where you, I bet I can just imagine where you go looking for it as well, Raspect.
No,
I only come on to say one thing, like, because I never have a run-in with you. All I'll say is, in answer to the sellout thing, I think you're the biggest sellout, lad, because you're the one who turns around and tries to get all information on everyone else, can try to convince the whole of YouTube that everyone else is sellouts. So if you put that much energy into trying to convince everyone else is a sellout, that means you're the biggest sellout.
Yeah.
And I think, like, if you look at yourself, you could fucking, and a lot of people have got your back, lad. A lot of people come on here and actually fucking, as much as they want to argue with you, they try and reason with you. And I think you need to look at yourself, lad, because you point the finger a lot and you never turn it inwards.
I'll keep it 100. You see, when it comes from ethno-nationalists and Tommy fans, like, I don't really take any of you lot's criticism, because
I'm not an ethno-nationalist, lad. I'm not one of them ethno-nats, what you want to call me. I don't take a label.
The right wing.
Don't take a label as an
ethno-nat. I can't hear whoever's speaking, you know.
Yeah, someone speaking. But go back.
In general, that's good advice for all of us. Like, we should.
Who's speaking? Was that Heathen?
Heathen, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear it. Let me come out and come back in.
I wouldn't take that as a negative criticism. I'd say that's good advice. Thanks for that.
Yeah, real talk. But yeah, the main thing I'm saying is, yeah, like, man can try and misrepresent everything man's saying and this and that for their own little personal agendas. How you know, YouTube wars. But you see in the community, you see where shit really matters. You see where people are really dying. That's where I'm at. Like, that's why I stream late, because I've got work to do, bro. This thing, like, you think I care about Speaker's Corner. That's why I was able to lock off my YouTube channel. I didn't care. It's easy. This ain't everything for me, bro. You know what everything is? It's my community. So who can tell me I sold out my community? The main thing that I make sure I'm doing is there's a lot of Islamophobes that are trying to fight Muslims, and that's a part of my community. And I defend my Muslim brothers and sisters, 100%. Equally, I defend my Christian brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? And when my Muslim brothers and sisters transgress other people, I'm the first one to tell them, man can't transgress. What are you talking about? So I don't really care what people think about me, car. I stay true to my principles. You know what I'm saying? But
bro, I got to interrupt. I'm back, but I've got to interrupt, bro. And you have to, and this is what I'm going to tell you. As your older sister, I'm going to tell you straight, you have to care what people think, especially your people. Because when you're out here, bro, and you're being a public speaker and you're speaking on behalf of your people, now remember, you're not representing just yourself. You're representing the entire black community. Yeah? So when you're speaking, we don't care what anyone else has got to say, but we do care what we've got to say, because you're representing us. Yeah, so therefore, if you're coming across and you're coming across like you're co-signing one slavery over the other, that's mad, and we're not going to let that fly. You know I'm not going to let that fly.
No, what is this? Did you hear? Well, I mean, I've talked to you about what Booker T. Coleman said. My community, I keep it 100. My community ain't everyone that's black. Yeah, it's everyone that's black. Yeah, but at the same time, haven't got the spirit of division based upon like what we believe. You get me? So the black people that are going to be confused right now are going to be people that don't know Raj and their man's game and their tactic and their history. Because that's what it's really about. It's really got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? It's only true. They feel like I represent something. Yeah, why they're trying to get one over a man on a conversation where I've been very clear. All of the black people that might even be skeptical, yeah, of not understanding what I'm saying, believe that African serfdom is different from chattel slavery. These men put it all in one thing. They think it's all the same, and that's what Booker T. Coleman, big historian, was breaking down. That don't mean he's saying one's nice, you know. He never once said, "Oh yeah, this one's nice." But the specifications of what happened, like saying that this is just because you're a black lady divine. Like that's the only reason, and anyone else that don't look just like you ain't gonna be enslaved the same way. Is different from someone enslaving anything they can find. You know what I'm saying? Because it's specific to us. And the reason why chattel slavery is much more relevant to us, sis, is because it's the last 500 years. And this country colonized the whole of Africa, and they've blown up the whole of the Middle East, and they've got Saudi Arabia in their pocket. So really and truly right now, like the country that enslaved us for the last 500 years has got a lot of control and jurisdiction amongst even the Arabs and far down to all Raj's people in Pakistan and India. You know what I'm saying? So,
no, bro, this is the problem. I'm not disputing any of that. What
I'm not Pakistani.
Behave yourself. Let him know. But what it is, yeah, it's not that I'm disputing what you've just said just then. What my problem is when you're coming across.
Okay, can you hear me? Because I think my internet's cutting. Yeah, can anyone hear me?
I can hear you, Raj. But yeah, it's not the problem with what you've literally just said. The problem is when you're basically coming across, and I'm going to be very blunt with you, like, oh, that one over there doesn't matter. That was so long ago, and it doesn't really, you know, that not much people know about it because it happened that long ago. But and you can also get yourself out of slavery. That's bullshit, bro. You know we're not going to co-sign that.
Sis, no, it's not that, sis. I'm someone who came up in the black community. Yeah, my mum didn't grow up and tell me, son, there was some Arabs 1,500 years ago, and you got to watch out for these Muslims in the streets. My mum didn't tell me that, but she told me about chattel slavery. And when I spoke with my brethren when we went to school, if anything, when I heard about Muslims the first time, I heard about revolutionaries. I heard about man like Malcolm X. That's the first Muslim I even knew about. You know what I'm saying? Then I started researching, realizing that the nation have got one, even though people might not agree with them ideologically, they've got one view of how, you know, how things was back then. And then other people have got another view, and there's debates between the Christians and the Hebrews and the Muslims and the spiritual people. There's debates in it. But I didn't come up in this thing, yeah. I never watched the Malcolm X speech and he's talking like, and it's like, or Martin Luther King, or any one of the Kwame Nkrumah, any one of the leaders like make sub-Saharan slave trade the forefront of anything. It's always, every single one of them, it's always chattel slavery at the forefront. Maybe that's because we live in those lands. A lot of them was in America, so they wasn't living in Saudi Arabia. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe it's because these people at the top of the hierarchy anyway, and they're controlling places like Saudi, or they've got a big influence in places like Saudi. Zionists have got a big influence. So it's like, if we might as well go for the head, innit? And the head is the USA.
No, and I get that. No, this is the thing. I get it. But this is the thing. When we're speaking mainly about the transatlantic slave trade, we're mainly speaking about the West Indians and stuff. Because obviously, you know, we shipped, we brought over, we sold, split up, all of that madness. We're talking about the Black Americans. We're talking about all of them. But we cannot forget or negate from the fact that this shit has been going on in Africa with Africans. Direct Africans, yeah, 100%. And we're not going to try to bypass it and make it seem like, oh, because it's over there and it doesn't really affect us, we're not going to be on it. We're on it just like a rash, just like with the.
Man's on to the Libya. Okay. At the same time, but I'm saying that, like, when you go and speak to a lot of the people, the problem is, sis, that we should be standing in solidarity with the victims of the sub-Saharan slave trade, and that's Black Muslims, a lot of them, yeah. So it's like, me, I'm standing in solidarity with the victims, where you got next man that say they care about the victims, but they're trying to blame their religion, and instead of the lack of the actual Arabs that are doing it, practicing their religion. And that's the distinction that I'm making. Do you know what I'm saying? Because these men will tell you, obviously them men are doing wrong. Obviously everyone will tell you it's haram. But when they say that, it's like no one doesn't want to listen. They'll say, no, this verse says this, this hadith says this. But man has told you that it's haram what they're doing in Libya. It's trafficking. It's not even legal. It's not even slavery. That's the difference. Sis, you know the difference between slavery and trafficking?
Trafficking is when you're just basically moving people from one country to another, or another state to another, all those kind of things. Yeah, I know what trafficking is.
And also trafficking is illegal, isn't it? It's an illegal act. So
yeah, it's definitely, yeah, human trafficking is illegal.
Yeah, so it's not there's not like them man have got some legal system of slavery like chattel slavery was what Kwame thing is saying, that it was a system which institutionalized disproportionately attacked just Black people. Do you know what I'm saying, sis? So, like, it's not that man saying that that one's better, but man saying them man there was doing it to everyone. They didn't care. Them man had more white people in the 10th and 11th century than anyone else. Them man, and then after that, like, because there was a time when Ethiopia and these places was highly respected, you know. Like, real talk about the Nagashi and them man there, their empires and the way them man lived and all of that. Like, yeah, because them man was religious from a long time. You know what I'm saying? So it was highly respected, even by the pagan Arab that was there before, that was oppressing all the people. You know what I'm saying? It was highly respected to the point where that man couldn't really invade to get their people back that went over there, because they knew they get licked down by that East African king over there. So it's not like man was any like chumps. You know what I'm saying? Mansa Musa, richest man that ever lived. Man, these man was not chumps. Kunta Kinte.
Lady D, a question, Respect.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Lady D. Are you suggesting that Respect condones racism? Sorry, not racism, slavery in all places throughout the world and in all times throughout history?
I'm telling you what I'm hearing coming out of Respect's mouth, and what was coming out of his mouth is like he was co-signing one, which I was very direct in telling him, or not necessarily co-signing it, but he was kind of like trying to play down one and like really put down another. Like, no, there was no comparison. They all need to get bun out, period.
No, they all need to get.
Do you think?
But when I get right-wing Jupiter coming and telling me about Libya and that, I've got to show her, no, your system was definitely the worst. And there's so many scholars that have said it. This ain't like people can't. But they one of some of the most respected black scholars, yeah, have said chattel slavery was the worst.
We know that, but you said that if the Brits were become Islamic, you would be happy, in fact, overjoyed if they enslaved your people.
That you
said that. You said that. No, I'm not letting you. I'm not letting you derail the conversation and trying to hoodwink Queen Divine. I asked you the question: if the Brits used the Islamic version of slavery, would you be okay with that? You said you'd be overjoyed. You'd love it.
He said what? Thing. Hold on. Rax, what did you say?
Let me explain. So let me explain what I said, yeah.
Before you go there, Raj, I just want to hear exactly what he said and what came out of his mouth, just to make sure I'm hearing correctly. Ras, what did you say to answer to his question?
Why is he being interrogated?
Because
don't get bullied by people. Right?
What do you mean? He does this to everybody else. If you can't take the heat, I'm getting this all the time. Don't try and hold his hand. Go into the lines then and see what happens to other people, and don't tell him that he can't take the roasting when he's over here.
I can't argue with that, Respect. Sorry, he's got a point.
Sis, if you look at righteousness are those who believe in God, the last day, the angels and beggars, and give money cheerfully to the relatives, the orphans, the needy, the traveling, the alien, the beggars, and to free the slaves. So I said, yes, if all Muslims follow this verse, it will be beautiful. And if they've done it historically, it'll be beautiful. Because that's the command to be righteous, to free people.
Well, let me speak to Queen Divine. Queen Divine, can I explain something that happened earlier?
Go ahead, Raj, because I missed a lot of this, so I want to hear what was said.
I'm going to actually go over it I'm going to actually go over it so he can't lie, because I've got the recording of it. I asked him this simple question. If the Brits come into Africa and then enslaved your people using the Islamic version, not the Arab, the Islamic version of slavery, would you be okay with that? He was like, yes, I'd love that. I'd be overjoyed with that if they use the Islamic version.
I didn't say that. Actually,
you did. I've got it, and I've got it.
Ask you directly. You know what? Let me.
You can't lie. You said that.
What? 1 second, Raj. I got this. Raj, I got this. Hold on, Ras. If they've decided to bring back slavery today, yeah?
There's no such thing as Islam.
Hold on. No, forget that.
No, but I don't believe in Islamic slavery. I believe that Islam was meant to.
Okay, I got you. Forget the semantics, innit? Bun all of that. Forget the semantics. Yeah. What I'm saying is this: if they was to bring back slavery tomorrow, and they decided to go and use the same method that was used with the sub-Saharan slave trade, would you co-sign that and have me enslaved?
That's not what. No, definitely not.
Okay.
No, don't ask him that. Ask him this. Yeah, you're not asking the right question. Would you accept the Islamic exactly by the book's version of slavery? Would you accept that? Not the Arab, but the Islamic way of enslaving people and freeing them by your thing, because you think they're going to be freed. Would you accept that?
this is what I'd accept, Raj. Yeah.
But yes or no? Would you accept the Islamic, not the Arab, but the Islamic form of slavery in today's age?
I wouldn't accept any form of slavery.
All right, so you would not accept any form of slavery. So when somebody, so you said earlier that right, so no, don't try and backtrack. Don't do the Sufi dance. You said earlier when I asked you this, you said this, that you agree with the Islamic version of what you might call servitude because they release, their captives. I then said to you and asked you, in order to release someone, you must enslave them first. Is that correct?
I said, yeah.
No. Answer this question. In order to release someone, do you have to capture and enslave them first?
When you listen to it, I promise you're going to be pissed because you know what?
No.
I answer this question because I can answer the question, Ras, and the answer to the question is yes. In order for me to be released, I had to have been enslaved initially for me to be released out of slavery
or captured in a war.
Yeah. So, but you believe that it's a form of justice that these people are being released. Did you not say that before?
Yeah, in African serfdom, 100%.
No, I'm talking about Islamic serfdom, Islamic servitude. No, we were talking about. Don't try and divert. I know you're embarrassed. I don't blame you. It's an embarrassment. But answer the question because you're going to listen back to this. You're going to feel stupid.
African serfdom because you know you can't call me a sellout by the
We did not talk about African serfdom earlier. We was talking about Islamic slavery around an hour ago.
I played the clip of the scholar, not me. I played the clip. Everyone.
No. Before that, don't try and divert. An hour ago, with Ezra, we were talking about Ezra.
If you got it, play it back in it.
So Ezra was on here earlier. Ezra was on here earlier with me. Yeah, and we both asked you the question. Would you accept? Would you accept that the Islamic slave trade being better than basically the translate? And you was like, yes. If I asked you a direct question, if the British used the Islamic version of slavery, would you accept it? And you said yes.
Right. This clip's on Bugs Negus TV, by the way. Yeah. And a lot of people, even if they don't agree with Dr. Kwame on this, everyone will say that Booker T. Coleman is definitely a big historian. Listen.
Unless I heard him say it. But Dry Bones, I want to go back to something that we all have to understand. Africans did not have slaves. They had servants. They always viewed whoever was in service to them as human beings. They could buy themselves out of that servitude. The children that they created were born free. There was no concept of an institutionalized legal system that because of the complexion of your skin or your pigmentation, you were counted with cows and sheep. Africans did not do that. Even the Afrabs, I call them Afrabs because to be an Arab, you got to be black. But even the Afrabs did not have that institutionalized enslavement of a people that dehumanized them. That's a different situation.
Okay, so you played this around. Hold on, lady, 1 minute, please, 1 second. I need to just say this one thing. This was one thing. I beg you. This was played around 40 minutes ago. Me and Ezra were on here 2 hours ago, and you did not play that clip. We were talking specifically about Islamic slave trade, not this particular slave trade or servitude you're talking about. And when we go back over this clip, there's no misunderstanding. I asked him directly about the Islamic slave trade.
Can I just say one thing? Let me just say one thing, innit? It doesn't matter because a lot of people have got criticisms of every religion, innit? There's every religion people have got criticism of. It doesn't mean I'm going to discount a group of people because they follow a certain religion. It happens to be that a lot of people are Christians and they're my brother. A lot of people are Muslim and they're my brother. A lot of people are Sikh and they're my brother. It's just how it goes, isn't it? What can I do? I can't discount it just because they're criticisms in their religion. I'm going to discount everything about them. Is that the argument you're trying to put forward?
No, we're not putting that forward. That's straw manning.
What are you putting forward? What's the argument at the end of this, though? If we find out that he agrees, if we find out that he agrees, if we find out that he agrees with Muslim, 1 second, let me make this question then, innit? Because I'm saying, if we find out that we somebody agrees with slavery and religion, that means they're a bad Muslim.
All right, let me answer.
Don't you agree with that? Don't you agree with that?
Let me answer. No, I'm going to answer my own way. What I'm showing here is that somebody whose own people, 1 minute, let me finish. Somebody whose own people were enslaved is now condoning another form of slavery because he's saying that that slavery is a bit better than the slavery that was done to these
all
people.
slavery
Let me finish. I've not finished.
Disgusting. So why are we arguing about which slavery was better than which? All slavery is disgusting. We've been on this topic for about 4 hours now talking about slavery was better than which slavery. And which certain types of slavery did you condone?
So
all slavery is abhorrent. It's rubbish. It's wrong.
Are you going to let me respond?
What's the problem?
Everybody has said on this panel that slavery is wrong. Full stop. I've said it. Everybody, except for respect. Except for respect.
Ezra didn't say.
No, except for respect. Respect is the only one trying to condone the Islamic version of slavery. Nobody else is doing that.
No, Ezra condones you being enslaved now for what your ancestors have done, but you didn't jump on that because he's not Muslim. So stop it. Ezra.
Nothing to do with it. Stop using the Muslim thing. You're not Muslim, are you?
Well, Ezra's a blessed brother at the end of the day. Do you get what I'm saying? Even if there's things in the Hebrew religion that man don't agree with, I'm still not going to dash Ez. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying, bro? I'm not doing that because he's okay to me. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know him personally, but he's all right to me.
I'm pointing out how he jumped on the Muslim thing, but when a Hebrew thinks that him and because what his ancestors done, he should still be enslaved tomorrow.
I condemn him for that as well.
In the Hebrew religion, they could have burnt white people alive. It doesn't matter to me. If I've got brothers that are Hebrew, I've got to love them and respect them. It's what it is.
So
Everybody's got dark history in their religion, bro.
All right, so let me explain something.
That?
Let me explain something. I'm saying all slavery is wrong. If you own another human being and they cannot, through their own free will, leave you, they are a slave. Whether that's called servitude, whether it's, you're a slave if you can't leave. I'm condemning all of it, whether it's Christian, whether it's from, even if my people are doing it, I'll condemn that. And whatever, every form of slavery is wrong. Respect has been trying to challenge this by saying that Islamic, the actual Islamic version of right-hand possession or slavery is somehow, okay. This is what he's saying. And if anyone doesn't get that, then you're deluded. You need to listen to this. He has said it, and he's trying to deflect and do the Sufi dance and tap dance all over the place. But he's not getting away with it.
All I've said is that you're misrepresenting what it means, and what you believe it means is different what I believe it means. And in the same way...
So I'm asking you again then. Shall we clarify for the masses then? Shall we clarify?
In the same way.
Shall I ask you again then?
Have you got Asperger's though? Because how many times do you want to clarify the same thing? You've been clarifying it for 2 hours.
No, because he's denying what he said. He's denying what he said. No, he's denying what he said. No, he's denying what he said. No, he's denying what he said 2 hours ago. So I want Queen Divine to know what he said. So I'm asking you again, if the British come into Africa, but instead of using a transatlantic slave trade, they use the Islamic slave trade, would you be okay? Would you accept that?
And I said something completely different. I said about Irish servitude.
No, I said if the Brits come in, instead of use the Atlantic slave trade, they use the Islamic version of it. Would you accept that on your people?
I don't believe in the Islamic slave trade. We fought against them every time they tried to.
All right, so in order to free someone, do you have to enslave them?
Bro, listen, I am...
No. In order to free someone, do you have to enslave them?
Do you mean you have to enslave
them?
them?
You said you don't agree with slavery, but in Islam, you have to free your slaves. Do you agree with that? You have to free your slaves in Islam?
In practice before Islam came.
Do you have to free your slaves in Islam?
Yes.
So in order to free someone, do you have to enslave them first?
Not if slavery was already being practiced before Islam.
In order to free someone, do you have to enslave them first?
Yeah, not if you already had slaves before Islam.
No, after Islam. Because remember, this happened after Islam as well. So in order to free someone after Islam come, even 100, 200 years.
Yeah,
let me answer. Do you have to enslave them first?
See, the thing is,
No. It's a simple question.
Directly, and this is what I mean. Hold on,
in order to release someone, do you have to enslave them first?
I keep on jumping and you don't let me answer. So no, sis. Like you're gonna have to moderate because the fact of the matter is,
I'm trying to.
Like my man keeps
do us a favour and answer.
When I'm talking,
the question. Can you answer the question directly? In order to free someone, Ras, do you have to enslave? Do they have to be enslaved first in order to free?
Yes, they have to. Yes, 100%.
There we go.
Yeah, so in Islam you can enslave people, so we've got that now. But you have a right to free them. Now, so do you agree?
Well, he was saying that there weren't no slavery in Islam, though.
He said that just 2 minutes ago.
But there's bad things in every religion, bro. What's wrong with you?
Hold on, Rasmik just said 2 minutes ago there's no slavery in Islam, and I've just proven that there is slavery in Islam.
Lady, you're letting him do it. Like literally, you're letting him answer the question, and then when I'm answering, you're letting him cut Lady D. Cut him, man. Right, that's his tactic.
What about Freddie then? He's cutting as well. I'm not just doing it.
I'm talking. He's cutting because you're cutting.
Yeah. Sorry for cutting.
I want to quickly just get back to that book.
Let's take his out of it. Yeah. Let's just look at ourselves in African serfdom. Yeah. In African serfdom, in order for there to be servants, did someone have to be captured, sis?
Well, they have to be enslaved, didn't it? In order for them to...
So I'm saying, I can't look at that as some mad thing because it was in Africa, it was in India, it was everywhere. That was the norm of that time.
And it's wrong.
Oh, bruv.
It's wrong.
Well, have you got another punishment system, Raj? Would you have another punishment system to put in place? Because there weren't no prisons then, innit? Stop being stupid, man.
No.
Stop being dumb.
No, I'm not being dumb because I've said before what my solution would have been. I don't think it's a dumb solution.
For black people, they got 2 million people in jail in America right now. That's more people than in a country.
You cannot equate prisons to slavery.
Bro, all I'm saying is
you're actually disrespecting your slavery.
The prisons are fucking worse than slavery. Are you mad?
Oh no, we're not going to do that. Who said that?
Are you fucking crazy? What are you talking about? Prison is worse than slavery.
So are people in prison? People in prison.
You can't even see sunlight in prison sometimes. What the fuck are you on about?
Let me ask you a question. In prisons,
Raj,
go on.
Please, I'm begging you, stop one second. What we're not going to do is put out there that prison is worse than slavery. Are you sick in your head?
I'm saying some aspects of it is worse, sis.
Hold on, let me finish. When you're whipped, your babies are cut out of your stomach. Men are castrated. Families are separated.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm saying, I know it's not worse. Nothing's worse. Nothing's worse. Nothing's better, innit? Now I fully understand that, innit? Now I fully understand that. I'll take that back. There's nothing worse, nothing better in it. I'm saying prison is hell, slavery is hell. Simple shit. That is fucking facts.
Certain people, sis, in jail, they're getting raped every day in jail. Like for them, that's a mad experience.
So if a man commits a crime, should he be imprisoned? Yes or no?
Black people got bare innocent people.
If somebody kills, say if somebody robs a shop, should they be in prison? Yes or no?
Innocent ones.
No, there are innocent people. We know that's why the prison system is flawed. We get that. But if there's
going to be in jail as well.
If we got concrete 100% proof, CCTV camera, fingerprints, everything, and the person also admits he did it, is it okay to imprison that person?
I would rather do 10 years servitude in a man's house where I can go home to my wife and have kids and all this good stuff, rather than be fucking locked in a cell where I ain't seen sunlight for 3 years.
I'm asking respect.
Are you mad?
Is it better than prison? African serfdom was better than prison. So if you're gonna say that all slavery is bad, then you got to ban your slavery as well. Which is
so you're saying then that if somebody goes to your home, robs it, beats up your family, and then the police imprison them, you'd be upset about that?
No, I'm not saying I'm upset with it. I'm saying
you said it was slavery. Would you accept them being in prison, or would you break them out?
You're upset with it.
No, would you break the person out and fight for their rights to be released if they went into your house?
Thing I'm saying.
Hold on, one minute. Let me finish.
Let me say I'm going, Raj. 1 minute, I'm going. I'm just saying. I'm sorry for minimalizing any tragedy that anybody's gone on, and I don't want to compare no tragedy because it's all evil, innit? I'm out, innit? That's it.
So Rasmus, if someone goes to your house, robs your house, beats up your whole family, kidnaps them, tortures them and stuff, and then they go to prison for it, would you fight for their rights to be released?
100%.
You would fight for somebody who robbed your house, beat up your family, including your mother, and then they get sent to prison for the crime. You would fight for their rights to be released.
Yeah, prison ain't enough still. so they'd have to be on road still.
So you would fight for their rights to be released. Just clarify that.
How people want to talk to them, innit? Yeah, we don't do this whole.
No. I'm saying, would you fight for their rights to be released, like a campaign and go outside court and say release him? Would you do that?
Do you think touching my mum? Do you think all you're gonna do is be sitting inside a cell for 10 years?
No, I'm not asking that. I'm asking, would you get them released from prison?
I've touched my family, and
No, I didn't ask you that. I said that would you if they get captured by the police, would you fight for them to be released?
Yes, so I can lick them down personally.
So your form of punishment, is not to get them in prison and do that. You'd kill them basically or something.
I don't believe in slavery like you.
So you would rather kill a man than to put them in prison and get them to rehabilitate.
1 second, sorry guys.
You don't believe in rehabilitation.
In the back, can you let him on, please?
Yeah, most man would rather, that's what the man was saying earlier. They said they'd rather kill the people than keep them in servitude.
Well, I never said that.
You agree with prisons? You agree with servitude?
No. I agree. If somebody commits a crime, they should be put in prison. Now, if there's somebody, let me finish.
That slavery is illegal unless someone commits a crime. And guess the main people that they're saying is that committing crime. Black peoples,
If somebody is arrested because they're black, that is not acceptable, and that is actually a criminal in itself to doing that. If somebody is arrested because I don't know they've robbed somebody or they've done something or they murdered someone, I would say they need to go to prison and get rehabilitated.
What do you believe in a form of slavery then?
No, you cannot equate because that. All right, so the person who's in prison, is their children, also in prison with them?
No.
Yeah. So they're not. Are they owned?
Everybody still big up everybody. One lady divine.
That was one of the main things in chattel slavery.
I can't hear Bad Boy.
That was the first kind of slavery where your children's children were promised to be a slave. Chattel slavery. That's one of the reasons why I differentiate.
We know, we've gone over this and we've said the worst form. Let's just state once again, the worst form of slavery and one of the biggest crimes committed against humanity is the transatlantic slave trade. We agree. Now, what we're trying to say is this, that although that is one of the worst crimes committed, it doesn't mean that other forms of slavery are acceptable. You do get that, don't you?
I'm talking about African serfdom.
So with the serfdom, let me just clarify. Can the person under serfdom leave, voluntarily from their serfdom?
Can a person voluntarily at any time?
They can or can't?
Can a person leave a prison at any time voluntarily?
No, but the person who's been imprisoned has committed a crime and is now in prison. I'm talking about. So I would say no, they can't. Yeah, okay. So no, they can't. They can't just leave. Can they leave the servitude though?
Yeah. So if you tried to kill me, then no, you can't because you committed a crime, Raj.
So if you're under servitude, you're basically owned by somebody else, which is slavery.
It's the same as a prison.
No, it's basically slavery. You like to use different words for it in order to make yourself feel better, so you can go. So you can go sleep at night.
With you, Yo, Raj, I'm gonna be real with you. You can't compare slavery to being in prison. Like, come on, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I didn't say that. That's what he said, not me.
No, I'm saying.
Sorry, my bad.
That's what Respect is saying. I'm saying it's totally different.
I'm saying African serfdom.
You heard that from Bank Boy London.
Yeah,
you said slavery is the same as being in prison, Respect. And this guy, Bank Boy London, said you can't compare that.
You can't compare it, man. Like, come on, there's no comparison.
Yeah, well, tell him then. Tell him then.
Don't be silly, man.
Can you explain the difference though? Because he won't listen to me. Because I'm an Islamophobe.
I think Lady Divine explained it quite succinctly.
Big up, Bank Boy. Much love.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing else for me to add apart, to what she said. Come on, use your brain, boys.
I think African servitude. I think African serfdom. Yeah, it was actually better than the prisons right now, and I can argue that. Any black person out there wanna debate me on it? African serfdom is better than the modern day prison structure up in America right now.
Mate, if you're trying to say, if you're coming on the angle of saying like, the prison structure and the prison complex and all that, it's like modern slavery, I'm more willing to listen to you on those terms, but don't say that it's better or worse than slavery. Like, come on, you can't compare it on those.
I didn't say it's ever worse than slavery. I said it's a form of slavery today. It's a form of slavery. Prisons for profit, yeah, putting people in jail and then making profit of them is a form of slavery, isn't it? Because
so let me help you out, Ras, let me help you out here. So in that sense, what you just said about the prison, you know, being a form of slavery today, 100% agree. 100% agree. You've got no dispute with me on that, especially when it's black males that are highly populating these prisons. We know that prisons are a big money maker. A big money maker, and we know that they are actually framing a lot of people and putting them, especially black men, and putting them behind bars because it's a big money maker for that. We know that. But what we're not going to do, and what we're not trying to put out there or in any way, shape or form, let people get this shit misconstrued, and then they're thinking that we're trying to compare prison to slavery. That's two complete different subjects and two complete different debates, yeah?
Do you know about African serfdom, sis? You know,
I know about African serfdom, but if you want to go into more details and explain it, I'll be happy to listen.
What do you think is worse, African serfdom or modern day prisons?
But to be honest, I ain't been personally for any of them, yeah, so I wouldn't know. But if you want to compare them, you can go ahead.
Well, I'd say African serfdom, a man's got his wife, you know, it's a short time for freedom. He's still treated like a human being, like what Kwame my man was saying. He said, the only system to institutionalize, yeah, actually targeting black people and only black people alone was chattel slavery. So obviously, to me, that's definitely the worst. Because it specified us.
Bro, you're trying to choose between you know, the better of two devils. Like, you can't really do that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, you can't be out here like, you know, trying to claim that, you know, you rather be on the African, whatever it is, you know.
Yo, I said I'd fight to the death. No man could have enslaved me. Yeah, I already said I'd fight to the death. Miss out what I'm saying. That's pungent and just grab onto words. You get me? No man could not enslave me or anyone around me. Like I said, unless anyone done anything for Libya or some black people or some Thailand people or someone actually politically active in where people are being enslaved somewhere in the world, then they can't chat to me, innit? Just hit the road and actually be active for these people. Do something for
them. No, Ross, the way you put across that question, it just sounds like you're advocating more for, like, you know what, if you had to choose between the two, you would prefer to choose African serfdom. That's what it sounds like.
I would prefer to be on the African serfdom.
But the whole point is, like, none of them are right, so we're not trying to choose between neither of them.
Well, bro, if
that's my point.
Yeah, but bro, listen. Haile Selassie, yeah, had a guy with his army tried to come and kill him. Yeah, he basically hosted the guy. Then he went and gave the guy out. Got army soldiers from his army to go buy the people's guns off him. His army. When the guy got back there, he saw his army was gone. Yeah, that man had to go into a monastery for the rest of his life. Yeah, like he got imprisoned. He tried to come kill man. He got imprisoned. Like I felt like that was a story of mercy. I didn't feel like him imprisoning the guy was no big thing. You get me? Like, so I don't know. Especially 1,500 years ago. We're not talking about now. We're not like some of our Israelite brothers who are saying that, yeah, in the future you are going to be enslaved. We're not saying that. We're saying back then, in those times when this was happening all across the world, it's understandable. They was living different. You know what I'm saying?
Respect. What do you tell the youngsters then that you're trying to guide when they're being kind of like someone's robbing them or someone's beating them up? Do you tell them to beat the guy up or do you tell them to go to the police?
What do you mean? What do I tell them?
So say a young guy comes up to you, 14 years old, says, "Look, man, there's these guys that are kind of like, you know, want to stab me or beat me up." What do you tell them to do?
Yeah, obviously they come to the family, innit? We look after them.
So you don't tell people to go to the police for their own safety?
Why are people gonna go to the police? More time when people come to us is because their parents have gone to police all 3-4 times and police don't do nothing. They're just waiting for man to die. So at the end of the day, it's better that the big bros try to intervene.
So I'm talking about they've never been to the police. Do you say they should go to the police at least once?
It depends what the situation is. Like man can't tell man just go to the police and be branded as a snitch and something really happened to man. And man,
all right, so let me give you a scenario. Some guy here, 15-year-old kid, he's got a beef with somebody, and then that person, like a whole group of people, want to stab him up, and he's like living alone with his mum. Should he go to the police?
Well, if he's scared, then he should go to the police, innit? But at the same time, it's not something that we advocate for, because going to the police is a dead thing. And end of the day, like there's not really a lot of youths out here that are going through it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I came up on the roads. Man don't have to call the police. Man can look after myself more time. You get me? So,
yeah, but if you're telling these youths here that the prisons here are a form of slavery, then of course they're gonna go, okay, even my enemy, hold on, even my enemy that's trying to kill me shouldn't be in prison. Don't you see that as being a problem?
Yeah, for me personally, I don't really need no man that's done me wrong to do. I don't need to do all of that personally, unless you're a paedophile or a rapist, which I think a lot of people.
So should paedophiles be in prison then?
Like, unless you're a paedophile or a rapist.
No, but should a paedophile be in prison then?
I don't like. Listen, I'm talking, innit? Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
you mentioned paedophilia, so I'm asking you, should a paedophile be in prison?
And then you cut 100 times. You get me? Rather than we show the youth, the cops to the ops, because we showed them that people like the cops want them in this prisons for profit. They want you in the modern day slavery. They don't want you going to get an education. They don't want you getting apprenticeships. They don't want you shining in life. They want you in that prison. That's why they like when you lot kill each other and they let you man kill each other. You know what I'm saying? Cause they get more funds every time and they can make a bigger force and they can get more powers for stop and search.
So is this what you're telling kids? Is that what you're telling kids? That the cops are the ops and they want you dead on the street?
We're showing the cops are the main benefactors of us killing each other. So that's why we shouldn't kill each other. We should build each other. Always get our education.
No. I agree with you. No one...
The police are the main benefactors when we die. Yeah, they're the main benefactors. They get more powers, resources. So they, us, part of the community, sell out Tommy Robinson fan online, but us who have to. What
about one of the boys' mothers here? What if the mother says to her son, "You've got to go to the police"? Yeah, what would you tell the mother then?
The mum will go to the police.
Say if the mother's got a son. Say if a mother, yeah, is like, okay, I'm alone with my son. He's 14. He's in trouble. There's people trying to kill him. I'm worried for his safety and my safety. Would you think it's a good idea for the mum to go to the police? Would you encourage her?
All right, a mum phoned me, yeah? I'll give you a real life example. A mum phoned me, yeah, and she said, my son's getting terrorized. These boys want to stab my son. You get me? And she also said, but she don't want to go to police because she don't want him branded as no snitch. So she said, Respect, if you can come down to my end and see if you can talk to my youth and talk to the other youth, see what I want. And that's exactly what I've done. Yeah, I ain't have no money. I ain't have nothing on my oyster card.
But hold on, bro. Hold on, because this is all irrelevant. At the end of the day, we lost 3 people last week. 3 people we lost last week, and they weren't even youth. They were big ass men, and they were all retaliation killings, all of them. So that to me is all irrelevant. It ain't only just the youth. Let's be very clear. I'm seeing this in my streets every day, and it ain't just youth.
I kind of hear what Respect is saying. Like there should be some sort of system where, you know, the older members of our community should be able to, you know, intervene and guide the younger people better. You know,
I'm not even arguing that, Bang. I think there's a place for it, but there's also a place for the police.
And you're talking,
hold on.
Yes,
there's a place for both here. There's a place for community resolution, and there's a place for the police as well. You need both.
Hey, listening. The thing is, if it came from Lady D or Bank Boy, it would be different. But he's talking as a Tommy Robinson supporter. Tommy Robinson's the one that.
Ultra, what you saying?
Backward barbarians, yeah, and we can see how that's outplaying in our community right now for the people who class Somalis as part of their community.
All right, you're deflecting and doing an ad hominem because I'm owning you and freaking more totally tearing you a new one. So you need to just calm down.
My man's talking about call the police, rare. That's what I'm saying. When man got the phone call from the mum who had those same skepticism, it's me that actually went down there. Yeah.
All right. So, but let me say something. Respect to you're one person. Yeah. Hold on. You're one person. Yeah. Who has a lot of influence. Yeah. How many Respects are there out there to do what you're doing?
There's millions.
So there's a lot of people like you that has all this connections and stuff. Loads of them like you.
Enough, but I'm just a YG out here compared to certain.
No, do you agree that you have more connections and probably influence from all the stuff that you've done compared to most people? Can you not concede that?
No, I can't concede that.
All right, so you've been on the BBC, you've been at Speaker's Corner, you've done all the, no, there's not many people.
Bro, I was big in my community before all of that, because I'm from the community. Like before any publicity, before Tendai Mari, before police videos went viral, before I came Speaker's Corner, I'm known in the community for hitting the front line with People's Army, Logic and them lot. And we're known
So how many people are like you? I'm asking you a serious question. I believe there might be a handful of people that could probably do what you do. But how are they gonna be able to resolve all these issues if there's only a